Well, good evening. Welcome to one of the finals for conference finals for Link to the Past Randomizer League. We are rapidly approaching the end of actually season 4 and probably one of the last remaining cross keys matches that we're going to have for this season. We have an amazing matchup today. Representing PugTrio is Solski. Representing the Spoilers is Zelga Desan. Two very excellent cross keys runners. This should be quite a treat for us. I am super excited. I'm joined today by Drossi helping me commentate this match. Drossi, how are you doing? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm just disappointed given these two runners they didn't agree to like SMZ3 or
Oh
something.
yeah, that's actually true. This should be, oh man, this is going to be, quite good. As you said, so we have lots and lots of accolades for both of these runners. Solski, of course, I believe he won not one, but actually two SMC3 tournaments in the past. Definitely earned his diamond on the SG channels. Zelga, so Zelga, I believe, actually is not only undefeated in league, actually, not only just in cross keys matches, he is also ranked third, I think, lifetime overall on the ladder. So we've got some pretty good runners here, Drosky.
And he was the runner-up in the most recent Cross Keys tournament, I
Oh
believe.
yeah. Was he? Was it? Was it wall kick? Was that Zelda or wall kicks?
Oh no, that was wall kicks. You're
Zelda
right.
made it super
So,
far anyway,
sorry,
because
Zelda wall kicks. Sometimes they're the same person,
yeah,
right?
I mean, well, they use the same sprite, so they may as well be the same person, right? All right, so it looks like
I,
we
I, I
are.
mean, right. All credit to Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, that's right. All right, it looks like we already have gotten started. I believe Zelga actually looks like both runners starting at Link's house. Zelga is making his classic, very common trip over to the Witch's Hut, taking, of course, a big flipper over to the portal. Gonna be able to check out some of the lesser convenient, I guess, locations. Looks like Solski, though, decided to already head up to the castle. Gonna see we have a well where Hyrule Castle is.
Yeah, so that's one thing about cross keys. You like to find out the drop downs as quickly as you can. And in this case, um, since we have the well sitting right there at Uncle, that's 5 free checks.
Yeah, so of course, it looks like Solski though wants to at least explore a little bit more. Maybe he's gonna hope that he can pick up a bomb. Of course, as you said, 5 free checks. 4 of them are readily available to us. Maybe one of them is, of course, a bomb, so we can get the 5th one. I think Solski would ideally like to only make one trip over. We already found Ganon. Actually, it looks like at the useless fairy drops can be pretty convenient. So he's trying to see what the prize packs are. It looks like we're gonna take some pots and try to kill some enemies here.
And Zelga here is combining that useless fairy check with a Houlihan.
Yeah, so this is gonna be, this is pretty classic Zelda opening, trying to farm up some early resources because, of course, Solski though, very nice and lucky bomb drop, fortunate for him. But yeah, early resources, we could definitely, eventually when we stumble upon hopefully a shop, we can actually pick up some bombs, we can just buy them, we won't have to be too worried about feeling too poor.
And certainly pay the bottle vendor, and Solski is doing a death warp. Probably to get back to the castle entrance so that he can now do the well with that one bomb.
Yeah, that's
As Zelga picks up a bomb drop too.
yeah, so price packs look pretty friendly, but of course, all the money that Zelga has farmed is certainly going to potentially help him out in the future. Looks like those Solski trying to go over to actually the drop
Whoa.
down portion.
We have
Do
a bow on Lake Hylia Island. That's useful
Interesting.
information.
Yeah, no, that's certainly going to be really good. Zelga, of course, probably very well known for his aversion to dipping Eastern Palace early, as we find a hook shot in the well from Solski and a sword. Oh man, this is a pretty dang good bounty. I was gonna say that with that bow, maybe it'll maybe incentivize Zelga to actually go over to Eastern if he picks it up.
And one of the more useless big keys, just the swamp big key in the back of the well.
Of course, you definitely would like to see these, one of these fetch quest big keys, right, sooner rather than later, because, once we eventually stumble upon Swamp, we would like to only make one trip over, so at least, Swamp Palace big key, Ice Palace big key, Hera big key with, well, I guess we have Hookshot, right, so Hera big key would be, some of the keys that we would like to see.
And Sank is in 10-12, which is a nice place to see it, because then you basically get a free start attack, and there's so many entrances here to really get you to a lot of different places in the game.
Alright, looks like though Zelga picking, part of Solski's path. It looks like though he is actually going to opt to not go into Desert Palace for the time being. I mean, we know he's not going to miss out on very much, but maybe eventually Zelga wants to try to dip it there, maybe with another small key, or with maybe just some better movement like boots.
So far, I haven't really found anything in CAC, though, other than the bottle vendor sold us a very expensive Meyer small key.
Yeah,
Oh, but here's Hera.
Oh,
And we have a hook shot for Hera plotting.
We have no bomb, unfortunately, for Solski. I mean, so this could be pretty good. He's gonna be able to check the stone prize. Oh, stone prize is well, okay, it's really nice because it's 20 rupees, but it's not as nice for Solski for the time being, right? Because we can Hera pot, we need some boots, or we need a bomb in order to kind of help us into that gigantic pot. Hopefully Solski is gonna try and find a bomb. Oh my god.
There we go. Problem solved.
That is so unfortunate. Oh, but it looks like the Solski is maybe not willing to go quite up yet. Very interesting.
Now he's going back in. Was there a fairy drop or something maybe that?
Oh, I see. Oh, that's right. Okay.
I think something dropped a fairy. And
that's certainly a very good point. All right, yeah, no, I think you're right, Jurassic. I probably was some like maybe arrows or something from that mini Moldorm, but yeah. So Solski, Solski has limited bombs. He needs to make sure that his setup is actually very good. Good thing there were 3 of them in the chest. This is actually, cross keys is actually a very good reason to practice your boostless setups for these things. Looks like Solski didn't quite get it, and so he has 1 bomb, but he's gonna need another heart in order to try and do Herapot again. I don't know if he necessarily wants to. Of course, he can always go up the old-fashioned way. Imagine not having Herapot, in random. But yes,
but then you need the big key.
Yes, that is true. Alright, looks like Solski's gonna temporarily give up. I mean, I'm sure he could choose to farm another heart somewhere, but the world is certainly very open to him at this point, and we just found Cairo Castle, so another couple set of checks here. The first one, of course, is in logic. The second one, I guess we'll see what Solski decides to keep going for. Zelga, though, looks like he has decided to try his luck with South Shore. So Solski just find a mushroom?
Ooh, yeah, that's an interesting find.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think Solski hasn't been over to, like, the Witch's Hut, right? So that's actually going to be pretty convenient for him to be able to, turn it in right there and then when he goes over.
And Zelga just found some bombs at Graveyard Ledge located inside the dam, and looks like he's farming some more bombs while he's here.
Yeah, so that's certainly very reasonable. So it looks like at least Zelga's going to be pretty set on resources. Of course, certainly, of course, with that sword, he is going to be pretty comfortable taking down whatever he has. Solski, continuing on to Hyrule Castle, finds our first bottle.
And since that unlocks 2 fetch quests, I don't think he's gonna save scum the key at this point. I think he just committed himself with that small key.
Yeah, though Zelga, though, continuing his way over to Desert. Unfortunately, we don't have some of our still major ticket items for access, right? We are still looking for, let's say, boots. Certainly going to help with movement. We would also like a glove. Zelga had to, unfortunately, walk past the 50 rupee cave entrance. But we'll eventually have to come back here if he wants to check that. It doesn't actually look like Desert has been very fruitful in our endeavors.
It looks like Solski is just going to do Dark Cross in the Total Dark now. That will make the key situation moot, because with Sank at Cackwell, we can always just do Back of Escape by jumping into Cackwell.
Yeah. And of course, the fact that, even though Solski, of course, is only on 3 hearts, he does have that sword that we both picked up, both Zelga and Solski picked up. So this should be, hopefully, pretty routine for him. Ooh, speaking of dark rooms. I wasn't speaking of even more dark rooms, they are not going to be any issue for Zelda because we not only picked up the fire rod, we also picked up the lamp.
Is that the rule of fire when both of your fire sources are in the same place?
Yeah, you know, well, so fire begets fire, right? So Zelda found the fire rod in Mini Moldorm Cave, and you know what? He's like, you know what? I definitely need the other fire source, which of course is just right there. You know, so while Solsky is most likely going to lose just a little bit of time, just because he has to do this room in the dark, it's definitely not going to be, you know, any basically of any consequence at this point.
And it is the GT big key, so we will probably need that.
Yeah, and
we still don't know what's behind GT, and for all we know, the 4 items upstairs are useless, but likely needed.
Yeah, so we did find Ganon today. It was at Useless Fairy, so we know that the Agatu is not strictly required to beat the game. But as you said, Jossie, you know, for all we know, some of the items could be useless, but also, you know, it could not be useless, right? Could be still some sort of required progression.
And Zelga's found Paradox Cave with an Ether Medallion in it so far.
Alright, so always happy to have a sword. Solsky in the back of the skate fighting. Oh wow, the big key to Easter.
That is really nice to find early because that can be an ice rod hunt late in the game, technically.
Yeah, but you know, Zelga's also finding his set of goodies. He's found a Master Sword, got some bombs replenished. And we found, of course, in compliment, a map to Eastern Palace. Not sure if Zelga's gonna be willing to do a map check, just for one, but of course, if we ever do find Eastern Palace, and the fact that we do have a map on Zelga's side, we are going to be able to see whether or not it is a pendant or crystal.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, speaking of, we have a slightly dislodged Turtle Rock entry. Speaking of Eastern Palace! Oh, hey, look at this! Zelga is actually deciding, looks like he is going to try and revive as Phoenix Wright and maybe make some progress.
Well, too bad he doesn't have that big key, though I guess once he has it, it'll be easy enough to check the big chest on his way to the back. We know where the bow is. Still will need flippers and mirror for that.
But, you know, no, I mean, so Zelga, of course, is absolutely making the correct decision for dipping into Eastern Palace. We understand this is totally out of logic, but it wasn't, you know, he's already here. This is probably going to just end his route, is my guess. And so if we find anything, of course, it's not going to be strictly in logic, but hey, that is actually a really good find.
So Moldorm's in logic now.
Yeah.
And if we have too few hearts to set up the Harapot, we can always go up the vanilla way.
Yeah, no, so I don't actually believe that Zelga actually has done some of the check that Solskis has, and he has not found Hera yet, right? So this is actually going to be really convenient for...
Zelga hasn't been to CAC, period.
That is also a good point, yes. But speaking of, by the way, big keys where they're just fetch quests. So I think Solsky actually has, from his endeavors, found basically the remaining fetch quest big keys. So I believe, according to our trackers, we see a big key to Ice Palace, and he just picked up a big key to Skull Woods.
Oh, yes. Chap pointing out that this Eastern Palace is located in the Dark World. We had to bunny revive, so the game is assuming that you had the Moon Pearl to get that Hera big key.
That is also a good point. So maybe, of course, that means that we're also not going to be able to find the Moon Pearl here. But you know, the value here of dipping Eastern Palace early is certainly going to be going to pay some dividends for Zelga, because he is going to be able to clear out Hera, albeit out of logic, but is most likely going to be a dungeon down when Zelga eventually makes his way over there. And of course, thanks to both fire sources being in a mini Moldorm Cave that Zelka found earlier, dark rooms are certainly not going to be an issue for him. Alright, one more check. Still out of logic for Zelga, but he is eventually going to make his way over here to the vanilla big key chest. And of course, without that big key to Eastern Palace, as Solsky does have, he is not going to be able to check the big chest.
Oh, and we haven't discussed this, but our trackers are on top of it. Eastern is a pendant. We have that little P annotation next to Zelga's magic meter, because he found the map to it.
Yeah. Alright, so it looks like the vanilla big key chest is paying out with a big map to Ganon's Tower. Is certainly going to be not very useful for us today, but Zelga's got his peace of mind that he's gotten everything he can out of Eastern Palace. So, speaking of Eastern Palace, how bad do you think Zelga, of all people, is gonna fail as soon as he finds Eastern Palace thinking it's right here? Oh, all right. So hopefully the mental the fact that Zelga has seen the Eastern Palace, he's not gonna kick himself over for dipping it just very slightly early.
And the Great Fairies are giving free blue goo today, which is a really nice find.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly going to be able to beat, trying to find like a potion shop or anything like that. It does look like we do have a very nice stun prize, right? Which is red rupee, so we are going to be able to afford whatever we want. However, what is better than having to spend like 100 and whatever number of rupees for that blue potion? It is getting for free.
And here's our first look at Chicken Hut, which has a GT small key. If we find Ganon's Tower, it helps with routing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we find, especially with, so we don't have a hammer, unfortunately. That is going to be another item that we're looking for. We would like a glove, like a hammer, especially with that hook shot, right? We can go over to the left side. Speaking of, we also
Cane of Samaria would be nice.
Yeah, that's really what else would be really good in order to be able to get things out of GT. Speaking of also not only big keys that we would like to have before visiting the dungeons, we also found a small key to Thieves Town on Solski's side, so we just need that hammer so we don't have to abandon anything.
And of course, we'll need the Thieves' Big at some point. Oh, and there's Ice Palace. Hello, Ice Palace. Of course, Solski can't get in. Zelga can get in.
Yeah, that's right. With both Fire Rod and, well, just in this case, just the Fire Rod, Zelga. Would you want to dip Ice Palace, by the way, on 3 hearts? Green mail? Jossie?
Probably not. I can't believe we haven't found a heart container yet.
That is actually a really good point. Basically, instead of heart pieces, health, anything, we've just basically just had our plethora of big keys early.
Though Zelga has said that he likes having low health in cross keys when he doesn't have a mirror.
Yeah, no, that's certainly a good point. I think that sentiment is most likely shared among many other cross keys runners as well. As Zelga is demonstrating, the less health you have, the easier and faster it is to death warp, intentional or not.
So Zelga may be turning down any pieces of heart and heart containers he comes across until he finds the mirror, at least.
Yeah, and actually, if you ever kind of like watch Zelga play Veterans, there are like the take any Ks, right? He basically just ignores all of the heart containers. I think also probably along the same sentiment that he, is very interested in basically, having death warping available to him. And yeah, and,
Wow,
and Zelga.
The sewers look so different when you have a lamp.
Amazing, right? Is that we can actually see the gameplay, the top tier execution that we're seeing from both runners. And of course, Zelga, of course, is not actually being clumsy or anything. He is actually still trying to, again, set up a death warp so he can go back.
Oh no. The eggplant's bunny form is a peach. I don't think I ever noticed that before, and now I can't unsee it.
I guess, I don't know, is this a good or bad thing that's around dinner time, Drossi? Is this gonna make you too hungry? Alright. Oh, and it's even a pink eggplant by the time we ended up taking a bunny revival, looks like, on Solski's guide. Alright. So Solski, of course, this is, again, as we saw what Zelga was trying to do in Eastern Palace, bunny reviving is totally, completely out of logic. But, we're here. There's one chest available to us that Solsti's going to be able to get. It does, unfortunately, not have to fire us, so these guys are going to have to go down pretty slowly.
And he's doing it with Fighter Sword, too.
Alright, meanwhile, though, Zelga looks like he has found Hera for himself, so it looks like he's going to at least make it one attempt, or two, maybe, for boostless Hera pot setup.
So that's the desert map, and as we recall, one of Desert's entrances is right at Hyrule Castle, so we may go back there at some point just to see what the connectors are.
Yeah. And that's going to be, of course, good information, basically, for both of our runners. Looks like those Zelga first try attempt very successful in order to get up to Hera. With the big key, we don't have to leave anything behind. We do not have, unfortunately, Hera's small key, but you know, who wants to sit through that basement anyway?
Hey, there's our sewers keys.
Yeah,
So...
speaking of, everything now is in logic, including that bug net here in
Well,
Zelda,
except that we don't have the moon pearl to put this part of Hera in logic.
Oh, that is true. That is true. We're still missing that pesky moon pearl that lets
Does
us
mean
keep us our
Moldor will
shape.
not be dropping the moon pearl.
Of course, with Zelga here on Master Sword, fighting Moldorm is going to be a heck of a lot easier with, versus Fighter Sword. One more spin should do it. Very nicely done. That's another compass. All right, so we're I guess we're getting items in waves. You know, we got a big wave of big keys, and now I guess we're starting our wave of compasses. We're gonna see some hopefully small keys maybe soon.
But that is the first crystal of the game, 1/7 of what we need to beat Ganon.
Yeah, it's pretty fast for cross key standards for sure. Maybe eventually we're gonna hit some health for our runners at some point, you know. Speaking of more compasses, oh, that's exactly what Zelga, of course, wants to see. Something else for Eastern Palace to remind him that he found the Eastern Palace big key immediately after he decided to dip Eastern Palace. Ooh, Solsky finds actually a really nice drop down, which is our uncle, which means that we actually do not end up having to figure out the hammer in order to drop down, and we find yet another compass.
We're going to have all the compasses soon enough.
Yes. And of course, you know, compasses may not be super useful to our runners, but, you know, as commentators and viewers, this is going to definitely enhance our experience because we are going to be able to count along as these runners pick up all they can, you know, from these respective dungeons.
Ooh, and here's Thieves' Town inside Smith's. Still don't have the big key, but 4 chests in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, knowing this game, we could easily have a vanilla big key or something.
Yeah, right. And you know, and maybe this is gonna be one of those few instances where we're gonna find a big key before hammer, and then you know, it's like we were so excited in order to have a small key to Thieves' Town first, but maybe it won't end up being useful. Although, speaking of uselessness, nothing so far in Thieves' Town so far. So yeah, for the first 2 chests. But, you know, as you mentioned earlier, Drossi, we're still on 3 hearts. And so this is going to be very convenient death warp for both our runners.
Hey, there's our first TR small. We have seen 2 TR entrances already, so that could be useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, potentially speaking, if we can find a Canis Maria, right, not only are our runners going to be able to proceed in the front of Turtle Rock, we are also going to be able to get some access in the right side of GT. Slowly but surely, we are accumulating some amount of value for all of our endeavors here in searching the light world.
And the runners are suddenly in a strange sort of sync with each other. I guess Zelga already checked the library?
Maybe he's taking an alternate route there? As in, like, he's gonna do, gamble game first, and then he's going to go up to the library and then check, brothers, right? Yeah, it looks like they're just gonna swap places. Nobody ever wants their fortune told. Speaking of, hey, we found another 4-item cave here and a connector.
Swamp small key, that's a nice thing to turn up.
Oh my gosh, our first heart container? Drossi, our second heart container? We've, like, doubled our life.
Zelga's going to be very disappointed.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I can't believe I have to spend 2 more hearts trying to death warp out of my life here.
And Solsky checking just a vanilla piece of heart on the race game, so we don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly not going to be something that either runner is going to return to. Looks like, though, Solsky just wanted to scout the race game before it looks like following the connector. Zelka is just a couple screens ahead of him. And we're going to find out where this ends up.
Ooh, pod. Well, we don't need to pay Kiki.
Yes, this is going to be, it looks like though Zelga, well, he can bunny walk quite a ways. Looks like he is going to hold off for the time being. Solsky, though, looks like he might choose to try and make his way over as a, well, Peach in this case. This is going to be somewhat treacherous. Looks like actually according to our tracker, Solsky did pick up blue mail. The Dark World enemies are not going to hit for quite as hard. Look at that. Absolute pro, just dodging the robot by having the robot jump over Solsky.
He doesn't want to check Treehouse?
Maybe he'll come back for it? Zelga, though, looks like he's going to give up his good bee in a bottle for a blue potion. You know, the fact that he already has a sword and he has a ton of money to his name means that he doesn't have to go and sell that bee.
Well, we found a shop at Portal 5. I think that's the first regular shop we've actually seen.
Yeah, that's actually... I think you're right. Oh, is he gonna beat this? Jeez, Solsky.
Yeah, that
was
not outing.
Yeah, he was definitely pretty trapped. But looks like we actually found our second shop. Basically, you know, instead of the dark shopping mall area, this is going to be the pod area. Solsky is probably going to check this entrance right here, right outside of the pod area. Maybe make his way over to the pyramid. Oh my gosh!
Ooh.
And did this bunny walk pay off for Solsky, finding the mirror here?
And that is in logic.
Mm-hmm.
That bunny walking to a visible item that you can pick up while a bunny is in logic.
That is, yeah, so Solsky is gonna most likely try, and he's probably just planning on ending his route here at the pyramid, but with that mirror, he can check a couple more entrances up top of Hyrule Castle.
Can also see what's on the pyramid ledge, and
again, right.
This is all in logic.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if there was like a moon pearl here? Solsky would have a pretty big advantage if that were the case.
Another vanilla piece of heart.
Yeah, not gonna be worth Solsky's time. Yeah, but like he with that mirror that you just found, he's gonna be able to check at least 2 more entrances here. Does not have the Master Sword that Zelga does, so he's not gonna be able to check that center one unless, of course, we either find a cape or another sword for Solsky.
Hey, there's that tree guy displaced from his normal home that we just checked by pod.
Yeah, that's right. This is the benefit of restreams, right? We can basically both runner sides.
And as Zelga finds a second bottle, Solsky finds Sick Kid to use the bottle for another TR key, which Zelga could use in TR.
I was gonna say, so Solsky's definitely racked up quite the niceties, so of course earlier on, right, Solsky ended up not finding the big key to Hera. Of course, it was out of logic completion for Zelga, but he wasn't able to make any more progress in Hera, but the fact that Solsky basically found big key to Eastern, a couple Turtle Rock small keys as well, over Zelga is gonna be really nice for him.
And we now have confirmation from Solsky's side that Desert is a crystal.
Alright, so of course, we're basically looking at, the big keys on the tracker, and which of the 4 of the ones that we would like to see. We would like to see Desert Palace big key, we would like to see Turtle Rock big key, we would like to see Meyer big key, and these are just like nowhere to be found.
So we found Agena in chest game, but can't do that as a bunny. And there's the potion shop.
Oh, kind of somewhat unfortunate for Solsky in that, for Solsky and Zelga ended up finding the mushroom later on in Hyrule Castle, but of course, at least we know where the potion shop is. But it certainly would have been pretty nice if Solsky, had ended up fake flipping over there, earlier and turning in the mushroom.
Hey, and Lumberjack location is Thieves' Hideout, so there is one item there, and we can't know what that one item
Nope.
is without beating Aga 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least thanks to Solsky, we did find Castle Tower, but, you know, this is Cross Keys. Those...
Actually, wait a minute. That wasn't Thieves' Hideout, that was Magic Bat.
Oh, that's even more farther removed. We still need powder somewhere. And of course, we also need those both Castle Tower small keys. So they're going to be, you know, those could be definitely hiding pretty well, depending on the scene.
And Lumberjack House had Death Mountain Ascent, so we've now rescued Old Man, which does give a new spawn point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like though Solsky is trying to actually use this mirror in order to mirror bunny his way into this entrance. So if you end up mirroring at the same frame you enter the door, you will get Super Bunny state. It looks like this is what Solsky is trying to do here. Or I guess it's not Super Bunny, it'll be Super Peach in this case.
Yeah, but how many times do you have to attempt it before you give up?
Yeah, no, you actually bring up a really good point. Every mirror transition is basically every single try that Solsky's making is actually can be pretty costly. But looks like maybe Solsky has got it. It's a little harder to tell because but looks like at least he was able to open his chest. Yeah, for a compass, another compass to Hera. Well, at least he's gonna be able to count, I guess, when he goes back.
Where the heck is that Moon Pearl, though?
Yeah, though that's actually a really good point.
I mean, Moon Pearl could be on Mushroom.
No, that's absolutely true because
that would be crazy, but it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, so right, the potion shop outside will return to the mushroom. Obviously, you know, is in the light world, right? We're gonna be able to get to it, and we just saw Solsky basically bunny walk over to the potion shop in Dark World.
Still haven't found any gloves, which would be nice for routing.
Yeah, at this point, basically 30 minutes into the scene, we're still missing, you know, a good amount of access, right? We did find a hookshot early, which is pretty cool for our runners, but we would like, what, a flute, some boots for movement, not only access, though, as you said, glove, hammer, these are going to be really good things, so we don't end up getting locked out.
Look at what Zelga's doing. He is diving ice because he can get in.
Yeah, and not only that, look at that. Zelga had picked up a compass to Ice Palace, so we know that we can basically count along right with him for however many items he's going to be able to get. So far, it's none, but we're going to get one relatively soon here. I'm sure Zelga is so happy. He's like, haven't I already gotten basically all of the red rupees in this game? It feels like they've certainly picked up a lot.
So, without the Cane of Samaria to do Icebreaker, depending on the key layout, we could only have access to a couple more checks without the hammer.
Yeah, and we have also no small key either, so I mean our access to Ice Palace is gonna be pretty limited. Meanwhile, Solstice is continuing his bunny or Peach walking. He is dropping into Skullwoods. He still did in this case, a revival. But of course, none of this is going to be enlarged without that pearl. We did find a Quake medallion, so it could be useful. We haven't seen what the Turtle Rock entry medallion is, so it could be something that unlocks another entrance.
And of course, this is going to be a Skullwood small key, guaranteed in entrance shuffle.
Yeah, just mainly for the purpose so you don't end up getting locked out and having to basically, you know, reset or save and quit out, right? In your
especially
exploration.
It took us a long time to get here. If we were forced to save and quit, that would be really unfortunate.
Solsky, though, totally defenseless, you know, in his Peach form, but he is at least able to, you know, make do with his blue mail and try to get through the remaining entrances here. Needs to take basically some more death warping out, so we can revive as an eggplant again.
And our Ice Palace Big Key, while logically required to get to Cold Stare, really only just got us 10 hours from that chest.
Yeah, so far Ice Palace does not actually look like it has been very fruitful for Zelga, just getting a couple of, you know, random resources. speaking of, boy, would it be really nice to have that Kena Samaria. Solski demonstrating that this room kind of sucks without it. Oh, jeez. Alright. So he looked like he was actually gonna get stuck with those Gyptos. And he is basically down to 1 heart. Luckily, the Gyptos did not spawn in front of him, so he's gonna be able to hopefully get this chest safely. Oh no, it's... Well, I think he might just wait for the hand at this point. Because he got Safeguard. I think he was trying to Death Warp out, but no, looks like it's not gonna happen.
So now where's Solski heading? And I think this is Zelga's final check without the hammer.
Yeah, no hammer, no glove, yep. And basically, I think we got, what, a heart container? You said 10 arrows from the big big chest?
Yeah. Nothing really worth talking about so far. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, those chests were, I guess, it was a pretty lucrative dive. It had some good potential, right? But unfortunately, sometimes, cross keys doesn't have to give you, what you're looking for immediately. Solski, though, finally making his way over, basically, to what his remaining checks are here in Skull Woods, and looks like, well, we also didn't really find anything super useful. Yeah, that is it for Solski. So far, though, the Solski has made some tremendous progress, though, making that, deciding to do the bunny walk and finding his in-logic mirror from, in this case, like the cave right outside of the pot area.
Yeah, so far that mirror has really been the only thing he's gotten from it, though.
That is true.
But it could be that we're forced to get the mirror by Bunny Walk. We still don't know where the Moon Pearl is.
Yeah, we still don't know where so many things are at this point. Alright, it looks like Zelga's found a Mimic Cave. Still, unfortunately, we can't get anything without a hammer, so we're gonna have to keep exploring. He has, I think, a couple more entrances here in Death Mountain. Meanwhile, Solski has not still visited Mini Moldrum Cave that Zelga has visited before. We are still going to be somewhat, well, I guess, in the dark, pun not intended, for which of these dark rooms he has come across. Hey, speaking of, looks like we actually have found another dungeon on Brothers left, which is Palace of Darkness. We have no small keys to our name, at least on Solski's side. So, Actually, so he does have a blue potion, so he can choose to sequence break out the right side, but Solski has found the hammer in pod. Jeez.
Where was pod entrance? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, pod entrance was actually at Brothers left, which is mirror locked in this case. So you absolutely have to, in order to, so all the stuff that Solski has done with the bunny walking, in order to find the mirror, was 100% required so far.
Wow.
Yeah. Alright, so Solski, continuing on his, it looks like actually some pretty good streak of fortune, happens to have a blue potion that he is going to be able to do a potion camera unlock. So what he's going to do is he is going to move basically these mimics off screen. The game thinks, hey, look, you've killed all the enemies. We're going to be able to get you more checks out of pod.
Now, meanwhile, we do have a prediction in chat about whether the Moon Pearl will show up before or after the hour mark.
Certainly hoping it's before, for the sake of our runners. However, if the Moon Pearl does show up pretty late, I think it actually could be a pretty interesting logical seed, right? For for us to be able to watch and figure out.
And so far, that would be to Solski's benefit. If it really is going to be a late Moon Pearl, as far as we know, the mirror and the hammer doing it this way are required.
Yeah, no,
and
that's
Zelga did not want to take a bunny walk when he exited a pod.
Alright, well, so Zelga's certainly, making a very good progress on his own, right? He did, end up having hit the first crystal under his belt under 20 minutes, and he has actually found Swamp Palace as well, which I believe someone has said earlier, I think it was a crystal? Unfortunately for Zelga, he does not have the mirror, he does not have the Moon Pearl, he can't do anything for the single item locations that he's finding in the Dark World. So he's gonna definitely come back
And we haven't found the dam or the flippers either.
That is also true. Yeah, Swamp Palace basically needs a lot of things in order for you to be able to access it.
Hey, what do you know? Another heart container in pod.
Amazing. Our brothers are so healthy. I think it was like the first, 30 minutes or something like that, right? They were basically on like, 3 or 4 hearts. And then suddenly, like 10 minutes later, here we are with like, double that, basically.
So here's our K45 check. It's amazing how long of a bunny walk you can do.
Yeah. I mean, and for what it's worth, right? The fact that we are actually having to bunny walk everywhere, right? We can't really even use the nice movement items. So the fact that we don't really even have them isn't really going to be any real time loss, right? So you feel a little bit bad if you like had the boots, right, and had the pearl, or had a, or in this case even have a hook shot, right? You just basically can't use them as a bunny.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, Solsky got to this part of the Dark World by following Desert Palace. The middle entrance is at Thieves' Town. And so that's given us basically the entirety of West Dark World to muck around in.
Yeah, the fact that Solsky has a mirror, he has a hammer, he has a lot more access in this case, that he is just really interested in exploring, so long as he finds that moon pearl. Alright, Solsky getting his information that there is in fact one of our 2 bows located on Lake Highlight Island, so he's going to be able to pick up both his fire sources right here now.
Did the audio somehow get massively out of sync?
I don't think so. It sounds okay, at least on my end. Oh, we are using Zelda's audio?
Okay, that's the thing. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. Alright, so it looks like the Zelda is following in Solsky's footsteps here in Skull Woods. Unfortunately, I think Zelda actually has a little bit more health when compared to Solsky when he was first over here. So, well, death warping is going to be something that I guess Zelda's going to spend some more time on. And he's going to basically, make the same checks, but unfortunately get the same amount of disappointment.
Right, and he won't be able to get the hammer when he comes through here.
Yeah, no, that is actually a pretty big, advantage that Solsky had, right? The mirror, of course, not only gets you, as we're seeing basically on Solsky's guide, right? Efficient exploration through both light and dark world. The fact that Pod, the Palace of Darkness, which had our hammer in the shooter room, which is the very first chest of Pod, is mirror locked. So when is Zelda going to make the decision to bunny walk over to basically the pod area and take the connector and then bunny walk over out of the pod entrance? That is probably going to be one of Zelda's first priorities, at least from our perspective. Meanwhile, though, Solsky is just basically retracing some of Zelda's steps. Looks like we are kind of overlapping, basically, the amount of progress, right? Had a lot of divergence earlier on. Ended up kind of favoring Solsky because he decided to bunny walk over out of the pod entrance and found his mirror, and then eventually made his way over to the dig game on the Dark World, mirrored at a brother's left, and then found Palace of Darkness, which had our hammer.
And Eastern Palace, there was Super Bunny Cave, but Zelda didn't seem to want to explore it.
Okay, alright. So maybe he is interested in seeing what other things have for him before maybe going back and taking that connector.
Yeah, I guess he probably just wants to see what's down here.
Yeah, unfortunately, because we are in the light world, Zelda would really like to be able to have, let's say, a flute, or let's say some boots. Speaking of boots, Meyer would certainly benefit for some, but we do have a hook shot, so Zelda is going to dive right in. No big key, of course, no Samaria, means that we're not going to make too much more progress, of course, to clear the dungeon, but we do have a good number of checks here available for us, especially with those 2 fire sources that Zelda has.
And with one small key, The left side isn't in logic without all three small keys, but we can get to it.
Yeah, something about logic is just more of a, suggestion, something like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these runners, certainly veteran cross-keys runners, Zelda, of course, is someone that you basically never ever want to face if you're trying to, get a victory, in a race. Certainly, both runners are very capable of keeping track of when to break logic and what things are still in logic and what things, when they eventually get it, will put other things in logic.
Oh, and chat saying Zelda has the book. I must have missed that.
I remember seeing someone pick up the book at some point. Was that Zelda? Alright, Solsky, though, without, unfortunately, a glove, can't check the 20 Rupee Cave entrance, but he has actually made his way up walking, and we found the other side of Super Bunny Cave. Interesting. Alright, so Solsky's probably gonna just check this one connection, or this entrance before kind of making his way over there. Alright, of course, sitting through cutscene chest, and what do we have here?
A nickel for your thoughts.
Yeah, that is not gonna be okay. The biggest value, of course, of that chest is the peace of mind that Zelda has gained by not leaving any item behind.
And turns out Super Bunny Cave doesn't really have anything besides the Thieves Town map, so I guess we'll find out whether it's a pendant or a crystal.
Mm-hmm.
But there's only one pendant outstanding at this point.
Yeah, I think actually you are correct about that. We did know the Eastern Palace is a pendant, and I believe also, right, we also were in Skull Woods, we thought that was a pendant. No knowledge, of course, on if either of those was a green pendant, because I don't think either of them had done a matchup, we just kind of saw what was the inside of the dungeon.
And we also haven't found Sahasrara to ask
Right,
him what's the green pendant.
Yeah, but I mean, but this is definitely really good knowledge for our runners, right? Because chances are now, especially when you basically stumble upon a random dungeon and you can clear it, it's probably going to be a crystal.
Hey, Solsky's doing the mushroom turn-in.
Hey, nice.
And he knows where the potion shop is if he wants to claim it sometime. And we're nearing the end of checks that Zelda can do here in Mire. There's this one. Ooh, for the flute.
That is a good find. All right, so Solsky definitely has a mirror advantage, but I mean, a flute is absolutely, totally worthful. Very, very high value here in cross keys.
And that's Zelga's third pod small, so if he were to get that mirror, he could do quite a bit of exploring in pod. As Solsky just jumps into the pyramid, into the useless fairy, and finds Ganon. Alright, though, Zelda, though, maybe he just wants to finish up a couple more things. Oh, maybe he wants to actually take Super Bunny in this case. I think so.
That's right. Like, we're so excited about finding the flute here in Mire. I was like, oh, he's gonna go activate it immediately, right? It's like, no. We have Super Bunny. Solsky, of course, came out the other side. So maybe chances are Zelda's going to follow Super Bunny, explore the rest of Ice Rock Cave area that he can, just going to see that Ice Rock Cave actually is just going to be something pretty useless, and then maybe save and quit and try and activate that flute. Now I don't remember where Super Bunny Cave came out. Ice Rock Cave area. It was the fake Ice Rock Cave. Oh, right. That's why Solsky did those checks. Makes sense. Yeah, that's right. I wonder if Zelda will fake Flipper. Yeah, that's actually a good question. So I think I also saw, Solsky was trying to also farm up some money, it actually looked like, on his way over to the Ice Rock Cave area, maybe thinking he was going to do a fake Flipper. But then he got distracted from Super Bunny and then, decided to go elsewhere. So, but Zelda, though, because he is exiting here, maybe he is interested in trying to do a fake Flipper. Nope. Looks like not. Maybe that first priority is going to activate the flute because, so Solsky has some pretty good movement efficiency through both of Light and Dark World. Zelda, though, has a very high efficiency moving now across Light World itself, right? So even if he wants to take Flipper into doing some Zora checks, well, he could just activate his flute and then flute to 8, and then we're all good to go.
That's very true. What? Unless the Moon Pearl shows up, what we know he needs to do is go through Hookshot Cave and bunny walk out of Pod.
Mm-hmm. Although, so now that we were talking about Zora checks and doing Zora, so it's actually not in logic. We don't have a glove or flippers. Not often, you get to see that, right? Because normally you just kind of assume that, well, you have a glove, right? And Zora's always going to be in logic once you have 500 rupees, but it turns out still missing a couple of logical access points.
Well, that book is going to let us check Desert Main Entrance. That's quite a prayer position for Phoenix, right?
Yeah. Is that like him at the gavel or counter or whatever, like on the prosecution side?
And Solsky's found another TR small on Floating Island. I didn't actually see what connector got him to Floating Island, but he got there.
And speaking of, it looks like the Solsky also found the pawn shop, the Swamp, and the Thieves Town are 5-6 crystals today.
Swamp and Thieves Town, you said?
Yeah, Swamp and Thieves, that's right.
So we're definitely going to need to find that dam and find the flippers. And since we know where the mirror is, that gets us the bow. Ooh, and Solsky finds GT. Can only do Hope Room on the right because we don't have Camp Samaria, but with a hammer and hookshot, we can do the whole left.
You
and hey,
bring
there's
up
Desert Small, which is nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you bring up a really good point, Drosy, because thanks to that mirror, which led us to finding Pod at Brothers Right, which had the hammer in the shooter room. It's the very first test in Pod. Solsky is going to be able to do the left side of GT. That is something that Zelda, when he finds GT, is not going to be able to have the option. I mean, we already see that basically the left side of GT is totally hammer locked. That hook shot is definitely not going to help Zelda access this part.
Hey, Tempered Sword, nice
Yeah,
find.
that is a really nice reward for Solsky. Certainly not strictly required, of course, to beat the game. No one is ever going to turn down a Tempered Sword.
Yeah, and it'll be nice if we, don't have a bow for Ice Armos.
You also do bring up a good point. Chances are maybe Solsky is actually pretty interested in trying to get as much progress in GT as he can, and having a Tempered Sword is going to be helpful.
And that's also our first CT small, so that'll put the second CT chest in logic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thanks to both of our runners finding the lamp and fire rod, we're going to actually be able to see what is actually in that second chest. Speaking of Castle Tower, where is Zelka here?
Well, he's not going very far.
That is true. He is going to basically do what Solsky did, like, I don't know, 15 minutes ago or something like that. He is going to basically pick up his first chest here. He is, of course, going to have a fire rod to his name and master sword, so his kills for these ball and chain guards going to be a bit faster. But he's going to find the same pretty, useless item check.
There's our Meyer Big.
We are, oh my gosh, we have 2 swords in GT. Jeez. Alright, so Solstice is gonna walk here basically as, the best, armed eggplant that you're going to find in all of Hyrule, having already mastered, gold sword to his name already, along with basically the big key to Meyer. So he's gonna be able to make another check once he goes into that dungeon.
And we did find the GT Big early on, so we will be able to check the big chest here.
Mm-hmm.
Is he gonna do anything crazy like try to mimic, clip, and climb?
That is a very interesting question. We do have fire sources, so certainly he's not going to be, I guess, stuck up there, even if he does basically cross out the mimics. I guess it's kind of a good question, though. I mean, I would think that maybe Solsky would want to maybe go do other things, but if you're here.
Ooh, Zelga's back in desert. This could be promising for him to get the mirror.
Small key to ice. So it's certainly going to be a very convenient key for Solsky when he eventually goes over to Ice Palace.
You don't see Buttersword Armos fights very often. What is it, 6 hits? Yeah, 6 hits for Armos.
Yeah, it's actually like one of the best swords you can actually get. I mean, it's Master Sword is actually worse than all the other swords, right?
Yeah.
Turns out finally at the Gold Sword, the max level is actually going to be something useful. Yeah, and this actually is probably his best option, right, for Solsky. No Burna, no beams, no bow and arrow, right? It's gonna be, good. Oh, Zelga looks like actually he was interested in checking out what the potion shop had in store for us. That was a convenient heart refill, I guess.
Ooh,
Oh
Thieves
man. Solsky has basically just gotten good thing after good thing, right? Behind Ice Armos, we found half magic, certainly going to be really good with that fire rod, but also a big key to Thieves. We have a small key to Thieves. Solsky has the hammer. I mean, this is going to be basically another, it's going to be a 5/6 crystal as well for him to be able to complete.
And Zelga's found Death Mountain Descent, which he's doing backwards. And yet another GT small on
Another one, yeah.
I think that's 3.
So it's really going to be putting more things for us in logic key-wise, but as we're still missing a bow, which would of course would basically prevent us from climbing, and we are missing that lucrative Canis Maria, not only keeping us from right side GT, but also I believe we also found a couple interests in Turtle Rock that would also be pretty helpful for.
Well, and now with that Meyer big key, we could beat Meyer if we had that Cane of Samaria.
Oh yeah, that is, you bring up also a very good point, Trossi.
Oh right, Desert was the connector to Thieves Town, Hookshot was the connector to Pod. So this is what Zelga needs to be doing.
All right, okay, so this is going to be really good for Zelga. Certainly a late mirror is better than no mirror. I'm not sure how good Zelga will feel, right, after this, because he knew that he consciously made the decision to not bunny walk over here. And so hopefully he doesn't feel too bad when he eventually finds that mirror.
But we do get to hear a lot of bunny music.
Yeah, that is certainly very true. I was going to say, meanwhile, we are still Moon Pearl-less. We're really closing in on that hour mark, Jossie. Maybe should we have extended the prediction? I was really hoping we would find it by now.
Well, Zelga first has to find the shops, like Solsky did, or he can then... But the nice thing is we'll be able to see what the Aga Tower entrance is when Zelga gets to the pyramid.
Oh yeah, no, that's right, yeah.
Solsky did not have a Master Sword to enter there.
Yeah, it's quite the sword difference, right? Solsky, when he was over at the pyramid, only had fighter sword to his name, and now after, was it Paradox and GT, he has now all the way up to Gold Sword. Speaking of, that's right, we did see on Zelga's side have him finding Mimic Caves, so Solsky's gonna be able to check this with his hammer. Zelga, though, meanwhile, picking up his mirror at the 56-minute mark. Hopefully Zelga doesn't feel too bad. Is that our last GT Small?
Yeah, which is totally useless because I can't imagine these runners are going to open the middle door.
Maybe they do it for swag. How's that?
Well, now Solsky can.
Yeah. Alright, so Zelga beelining his way as fast as his blue badger legs can carry him all the way up to the pyramid. He's going to probably check out what the ledge has, which is, I believe, was a manila piece of heart. And then we are eagerly going to await what is here in the middle vanilla entrance of Castle Tower.
I shouldn't make fun of that fourth GT, small key, it does put Aga 2 in logic once we get the flippers and therefore the bow.
Oh, right. Key logic in cross keys. You have a good memory, Jocelyn. That is where our castle tower key was in the map room, or but a firebar room of GT, which is locked by all of the GT smalls. We do find Desert Palace entry, which is a crystal for us today. We of course need a Desert Palace big key in order to get it, but this is going to be good knowledge for Zelga.
Zelga gets his second TR small. All you really need are 2 TR smalls in entrance rando, as long as you can find the laser bridge entrance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the nice thing, you know, because TR has so many entrances, we can basically, you know, just back door, or front door, or side door, or whatever we need to do in order to get to all the chests. And
Solski's taking his second stab at Aga Tower here just to get that second chest.
Oh, if there were a time where you regretted picking up blue mail, Solski might be feeling it right now. I hope he remembers he has a fairy. I don't know if he released it earlier, but he did catch one, right? Definitely didn't remember.
You called it.
Alright, well, Solski's definitely gonna remember this for the next time. He's like, well, you know, I was so good at practicing death warping from this ball and chain guard, I'm just gonna do it again, because basically the fairy just reminded me all the way
new check here, Ether Tablet.
And that is yeah, that's right. Solski came up here earlier, did not have the book that Zelga has, and Zelga does have a Master Sword. Oh, alright, that is a significant swing here for Zelga and the spoilers. He has found our first glove on either tablet, very, very important.
That definitely opens a couple of entrances. Unfortunately, Zelga will not be able to do much in GT. He's not going to get those couple of swords or all those keys that Solski found.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, Zelga kind of limited his bunny walking basically just to the pyramid, decided to head elsewhere with that mirror, and has not actually ended up visiting Palace of Darkness, which was at Brothers Right in Caparico. Brothers Left, sorry, excuse me. And that was where Solski found his hammer.
And the pessimists win that prediction and get a big payout.
Yeah. Who knew that this was going to be a late Pearl seed? Well, so that glove actually does now put Zora in logic, surprisingly. So, you know, both the runners are, of course, very wealthy, you know, having basically near 1,000 rupees for both of them. But Zelga is the one, of course, with the glove, so maybe he'll be more incentivized to go over there and pay 500 rupees.
First, he's going to check these 2 items on right side desert, which we haven't seen.
Alright, more money, basically, to Zelga's name. Solski trying to put that mirror very much to his advantage, trying to mirror as much as he possibly can without mirror blocking. It is actually a surprisingly difficult thing to do.
And here's the Brothers Connector, which we have not seen yet. Ooh, comes out at Mimic Cave.
Yeah, so this is going to be good, especially with that mirror. Well, both, you know, Solski and Zelga, of course, having the mirror to their name, so it's going to be very convenient for them to be able to check this. Zelga, though, looks like he is going up Fairy Ascent connector, the arguably least desirable connector in the entire game, especially going up, because you have to go up so many different screen transitions in order to get to your destination. Oh, speaking of, okay, so that's where Floating Island was.
Okay.
Well, that is...
And as it turns out, that connector Solski found is absolute junk. All 3 of the entrances it got us had nothing there.
Alright, well, I guess Solski can then check off those 3 entrances on his tracker. Going to go and try and look for somewhere else that has progression. Now, of course, we know that, you know, the flute, of course, that Zelga has, that Solski does not, is in Meyer, which was on the spike chest, I believe. So he just needs to basically go over there, and once he finds Meyer, he's going to be able to have access as well.
Too bad Zelga doesn't have that hammer. Actually, I just realized if we wanted to do Turtle Rock entrance, we'd need the mitts as well. So, moot point.
Ooh, Solsky entering Ice Palace. So I believe this is also well. Okay, I think we maybe don't know full Crystal Pendant knowledge. But Solsky has the hammer. He does not have a glove, so he might have to still abandon one check.
And without Samaria, yeah, I think he can only do the same checks as Zelga was able to do in here.
So unfortunate, man. So so combined, of course, we are going to be able to. So okay, at least if Zelga goes, no, we still need a combination. That's right. Zelga doesn't have the hammer. Solsky doesn't have the mirror, or doesn't have the glove. So I guess if we take both runners, they can complete Ice Palace together, but separately they still cannot. Of course, I think we saw on Zelga's side that there was nothing of value in Ice Palace. So the fact that Solsky is leaving early is probably going to be some time given to Solsky in this case.
Hey, that was a vanilla checkerboard cave location.
It's not the vanilla item, but still pretty useless at this point. Alright, Solsky though, finally making his way over to Spiral Cave. I believe this is where the book is?
Yeah. But we could get a bonus. And Zelda finding the Brothers Connector, don't find out it's useless.
Alright, so, man, okay, so finding the book for Solsky is certainly very good for him, right? Because we know that either tablet, in this case, has the glove that Solsky absolutely needs to go get. However, it is either tablet. It's not super convenient, especially without a flute in order to get back to the mountain. So it still might be a bit of a waste before Solsky ends up going back to go get his glove. Because especially he remembers that, hey, I've got the hammer, I've got the big key to Thieves Town. This is going to be a crystal that I know because I talked to the bomb shop dude, and I picked up the small key.
And at nearly an hour 10 by the time he finishes this, he'll have his first crystal.
Yes, quite the difference for contrasting Zelga, which he picked up his first crystal from Hera at basically at the 20-minute mark.
So Zelga's using this connector. I forget where it leads. Oh, right.
I guess if Zelga was here, I must have missed it. But the fact that he's here with the mirror now.
Ooh, Spike Cave, definitely not in logic.
It is, yes, you are absolutely correct, Drosy. Spike Cave is not in logic. We also don't have we don't have an invincibility item for sure, but Zelga, of course, doesn't even have a hammer to his name. Solsky,
right, but if Zelga did have the hammer, he could cheese Spike Cave with those bottles.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. He actually might try to do that just because it's not a super convenient spot to be. So the upside of Zelga not having the hammer is that he is reminded very early on that Spike Cave is hammer blocked because you see those pegs you have to nail down, right? Solsky though, hopefully he remembers that there is still a glove requirement at the very end of Spike Cave. And because more than one runner has been plagued by the fact that you've gotten all the way to the end and then you can't end up lifting the rock.
I've definitely seen that happen.
Yep.
And is this our first look in Sank?
Oh man.
Useless Fairy.
I think you're right. I don't certainly remember anybody else going there. Solsky, I guess, was reminded that he in fact does not have a glove in Thieves Town. Certainly not going to be the hardest lesson, of course, to learn, but we are going to have to take a very scenic detour in order to get to the maiden. Oh, right, and so Solsky was here very early on with that mirror, right? Trying to do some bunny walking. It looks like Zelga's going to try and also do a mirror bunny into King's Tomb. Maybe he'll succeed. He's gonna pick up another compass for his troubles.
And just a big 20 for all that in Thieves' Big Chest, so unless Blind has something, Thieves was really a bust. Other than it's a 5/6 crystal.
Yeah, actually, so it seems like a lot of our dungeons so far, right? Like Skull Woods, Ice Palace, looking like Thieves Town, does not have actually a lot of value, right? We definitely saw a good amount of stuff in, like Zolski said, we found Hammer and Pod, we found a Flute and Mire, but looks like actually dungeons are kind of empty these days.
Okay, discussion in chat about the etymology of useless fairy. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is the name comes because it's the only drop-down that's actually useless. All the other drop-downs have something you want.
You very well could be right. It might be before my time, but it is certainly very useless in that there is nothing of value that we can basically get from there. As speaking of no value outside of that 5/6 crystal, Drosy, I think you were spot on with your prediction because we ended up picking up 10 arrows, which we can't even carry. But I guess Solsky though has his crystal, 50 minutes later than Zelga. Oh, that's right. And Zelga didn't check race game when he was over here. He opted to check the connector, so he's gonna explore it partial way through, and then.
Hey, on Solsky's map there, it looked like Eastern was the green crystal, the green pendant.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, he just did a map check.
Oh, he did a map check. Okay,
looked
I must
green.
have that.
Yep, I just got it on the way around. Yeah, it's definitely
Nice.
the green pendant.
Okay.
Because of course vanilla green pendant.
Yeah. Alright, Zelga finally made his way over, that's right. Over to Pal's Darkness, picking up his hammer. It's still no bow for Zelga, but he does have a potion. I'm sure he's more than capable of accessing the right side if he chooses. But, as you mentioned very early on, Drosy, Zelga has 3 pod smalls to his name. Solsky had 0 when he came over here, so he's gonna be able to basically access like a ton more stuff in this dungeon.
Yeah, I believe with Crosskey's logic, the back always requires 4 keys to be in logic, even if it logically locks the bow, something like that.
Yeah, cross keys there's no conditional logic, so I believe pod is 1, 4, 6. So it's like 1 to just basically get into the front of pod, not the shooter room, 4 to get the back, and then 6 for like Harmless Hellway in Helvesaur.
And Solsky takes the lead on the crystal count, doing Hera right after Thieves.
Alright, so far the extra checks that Zelga has done in the front of pod has not really yielded much value, but of course, as we said, we still have a lot of the back, which, I don't know, could be some more value, certainly a lot more checks.
Oh, Zelga's actually gonna do, no, what's... I thought he was gonna do, vanilla,
Vanilla Big Key chest? Maybe he just needed to come around.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't just do the usual bomb strat to flip the switch there, that he went all the way around to flip it with the fire rod.
Alright, Solsky looks like he got spit out at the back of Skull Woods. That is going to be an end of his route. Hey, that is a big key that not only leads to an extra crystal for Zelga, he knows actually where the back of Desert Palace is because he had the Master Sword when he mirrored up at the Vanilla Hyrule Castle location, which is where Desert Back is.
So that'll be another crystal for him potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he has a fire rod in this case, so it should be a pretty fast clear, despite the fact that he only has Master Sword to his name.
And now to get 2 checks. Very out of logic here, but hey, you're here, why not?
That's right, yeah. Zelga, very nicely done for Hammer Yump. It is so. The setup is slightly different if you come, of course, from the north. But if you end up failing, the punishment is much more severe. So the fact that Zelga was very confident in his execution, just goes to show you that doesn't matter where you come from. Zelga's good. That's our.
There's our other CT small. Magic Bat is now accessible, though of course we don't have powder to actually do Magic Bat, and each runner only has one CT small.
Yeah. Of course, both runners ended up turning in their mushroom, and not that fake powder is ever going to be really probably on their mind until they find the Cane of Samaria. So we finally found a glove, which was on Ether Tablet. We finally found a hammer, of course, which is in Pod. So, Drosy, about that boots. Or maybe, like, another glove? We're still missing, like, a good amount of stuff here.
How about that Moon Pearl? We've got another prediction in chat, this time for an hour 30.
Alright, so okay, so are we gonna, should we do like a meta prediction? It's like, are we gonna have to do another prediction for the 2-hour mark? We're looking for that pearl. We're looking ideally for some boots. We would also like to know where that Cane of Samaria is as well, right? It is, I think you mentioned earlier, Drosy, right? The fact that we have a Meyer big key, at least on Solsti's side, know where Meyer is. We could basically clear out another dungeon at that point. Not to mention right side GT, whatever else we need in Turtle Rock. Speaking of Meyer, here is Solski with his Meyer big key, so he's gonna be able to make at least one more check. What's up?
Zelga could now clear out ice with hammer and glove.
That's right, he has a glove now. I wonder if that's where he's gonna go. Everyone loves taking Desert Palace connectors, especially with no boots. There was a reason why Desert Palace was the second dungeon of the original game, right after you turn in the green pendant to Sahashwala to get those boots, because there are so many nice long hallways.
This isn't for the connector, this is for the big chest, which is just another $5.
That is certainly, yes, you are correct. I was still looking to be able to dash up that really long hallway, though, in order to get to the big chest. Yeah, but, so Zelga, I think Solski did also walk by this earlier. We're pearlless at this point. We just have to see that Zelga cannot check the vanilla Hype King location. We cannot do dig game. Even though we are basically flush with cash at this point.
We can do Bombo's tablet. We can do what would normally be the 50 rupee spot now if Zelga goes west.
That's also a good point too. Maybe this is actually what he is decided to do. Clean up some of these checks that he could not do earlier.
So this will be one entrance and one check that we have not seen from Solski.
Yeah, and the fact that Zelga here is in South Shore, maybe is... Well, he doesn't have a flute, so I guess he can get back here anytime. This could be cleaning up Ice Rock Cave area, and maybe he also wants to fake flipper over at this point and do Zora. Never mind!
No fake flippers!
We don't need a fake flipper anymore! Zelga's found the real flippers on
nice little moonwalk, too, when he got it. Celebratory moonwalk.
Yeah, alright, so this, that book, super important for this seed, right? Either tablet had our first glove, the flippers here, were on Bombo's tablet.
And that gives us bow.
That's right, good memory, Drosy. We have Lake Hylia Island that just had a bow basically readily available for our runners, was so tempting because we were kind of missing a lot of stuff, but Zelga basically has full access to it right now. Oh.
This is a pendant, but it is clearable.
It is, yeah. So Zelga, very fortunate to have come here with a small key in hand. Not as fortunate as Solski, the fact that he does not have either tempered or gold sword to his name, because they were both in GT. But the fact that Zelga, is pretty capable person. I'm sure he can take down Mothula with only Master Sword, Fire Rod,
I'm not
hammer.
Too worried about him.
Yeah.
Nice ether strats on the Gyptos there.
Oh, nice fairy drop too. Oh my gosh, and a full magic. Gyptos definitely has a was in the big whatever nice price pack. Alright, looks like those Zelda my guess is he probably intentionally tried to take damage. He wanted to get rid of his sword beams. Sword beams, of course, will do fighter sword damage, and this is not what you want, of course, in order to take on Moth.
And he's decided to get the hammer out rather than the fire rod. I'm a little bit surprised. Usually hammers if you don't have any magic for your fire rod.
Yeah, speaking of, Zelga cutting it a little close there. He also opted to not pick up the blue mail. So one hit from Moth certainly would have been instant death, but you know, looks like he pulled out the fire rod just in time in order to take down Moth.
So unless there's something on Ped, that was useless, but we didn't know that. Where to, Zelga?
I heard one click. Alright, we're fluting 8. We are gonna follow those flipper checks that is that Zelga very hard earned from that Bobo's tablets. Looks like we're gonna first trip, of course, is gonna be looks like a hobo stop, and then probably down to Waterfall Fairy and Zora.
Would be funny if the Moon Pearl was just in one of these locations, and we could have had it for a while if we just checked Bombo.
We just fake, yeah, or fake flippered, right?
Okay, we need the ice rod, probably.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it is. We see the C on Solski's side.
Oh, yeah, that's a good observation.
TR is a crystal. We do need that ice rod.
Alright, so does that mean we have enough information? I think probably still not. We're still probably missing that last crystal or pendant knowledge, right?
Yeah, Pod, Ice, and Mire, we don't know. 2 are crystals, 1's a pendant.
Yeah, cross keys, at least for medallion hunts, probably isn't going to be super, you know, as, I guess, like, high priority, just because medallions really only lock 2 entrances. With the exception of course, Bombo's, you know, being entry into Ice Palace inside, but that Ice Rod can certainly still be very elusive. The fact that Zelga's found it, it's going to be very helpful for him.
So, I was just thinking, if I've counted the drop downs correctly, Thieves' Hideout is behind Agate 2.
Okay. I will take your word for it, because I certainly had not been paying attention.
So there's 1 unknown item behind Aga 1 and 1 unknown item behind Aga 2.
If we combine the inventory of both of our runners, we can clear out Aga 1 and Aga 2, I think? Oh no, well I guess eventually we can with Zelga's bow, right?
Yeah.
That he will eventually get, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just an annoying bunny walk because we still don't have Moon Pearl.
That's right, we're still pearlless. Looks like nothing of value on Zora. I didn't actually quite check what Zora Ledge had either, but the fact that
Zora Ledge was like $50, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, Zelga's definitely not going back for it. Oh, actually, yeah, so speaking of, one of our trackers, Daruk has actually reminded us that we, in fact, still need a pearl in order to get that bow on Lake Hylia Islands. We have flippers, we have mirror, but we still kind of need a way in order to get over there.
Oh, because we can't swim in bunny form?
We cannot swim, yes, in bunny form.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Ooh, Solski taking a bit of a divergence here from Zelga on the mountain. This looks like, with his mirror out, this actually could be a ether tablet check for Solski. So this is going to be very good news for him because he is going to be able to claim his glove off of the tablets.
And meanwhile, Zelga is probably going to make another run at GT since he's on the mountain.
Yeah, no, that's also a really good point because we Zelda, at least he did find the hammer relatively soonish after he found the mirror. But the fact that Zelda was certainly very aware that he was hammer blocked for a lot of the checks that he had already seen, right? Mimic Cave was one of them, and it certainly would make a lot of sense for him to also chase GT as well. Alright, Solsky has picked up his glove. Hopefully he also does not feel too bad. He did encounter the book not super, I don't know, well, not super late, but also wasn't super early either. But hey, Solsky,
Oh, yes.
very
You're
convenient.
right.
Yeah, this is gonna be actually very convenient. He's like, hey, I remember this place. I tried to come in here and do a couple checks without the glove, but I have one now, so I'm gonna be able to full find this place.
And Zelga may well do that immediately after as well.
Alright, so is it still too early to take stock on what we still need, I guess, for this seed? Because I think I hope we're not sounding like are we sounding like a broken record at this point? Basically just harping on the same items over and over. So, okay, what else do we need, Rossi? We still need Cadus Maria. We still need a pearl.
Right, we know where to get a bow. We need a couple of big keys. Well, at least Turtle Rock big. Pod
right,
big, possibly. We don't know whether pod's a pendant or a crystal.
Yeah, and I think we still need to find the dam at some point, right? We know that
Oh,
swamp
yes,
is
we do need to find the dam.
Yeah, we did find Swamp Palace at least. I believe Solsky and Zelka had both found it. But yeah, we still need, in order to drain at least the dam so we can actually get into Swamp Palace.
Okay, Zelga now has both CT smalls, so I wonder if he will... Well, no, we still don't have the powder, so no point in doing it.
Yeah. Speaking of no Canis Maria, no Boomerang even. I believe we saw a Boomerang right on Library, but that was in the Dark World, so we don't have boots anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Zelda is gonna have to, in this case, resort to some good old-fashioned bomb strats. Alright, Solsky finally gonna be able to get us actually a new check in this case, right? Because Zelda was up here without hammer or glove. And meanwhile, Zelda is going to be very happy to find both his swords here.
Okay, so that check in ice was just a piece of heart. Let's see what the vanilla big key chest gives us. Just a big 20.
Absolutely useless.
So unless Cold Stare has something, ice is useless other than we'll get crystal pendant knowledge.
Yeah. So right, so I think it was also just like Skull Woods too, right? Basically the entirety of Skull Woods was just not useful whatsoever. I guess we still don't know the TR medallion entry. Could be quick because that's where we found it, but Zelga, that was actually a really nice bomb boost over that portal. It's actually a really slick setup too.
Yeah, it's a good trick to know because most of the time you have boots and you just bonk over it, but knowing how to do it when you don't have boots is nice.
Yeah, so speaking of also no boots and bonking, Zelka's gonna have to bomb jump his way over because, again, you would just normally bonk off this pot, right? And nope. Alright, Solsky finally making his way over to the tail end, of course, is Ice Palace. At least we're gonna be pretty healthy going into Cold Stare, and of course he picked up half magic, what Zelga's gonna do very shortly, right after Ice Arbos here. So Cold Stare, I mean, with also Gold Sword, Solsky's gonna have no problems here whatsoever. Alright, so Drossi, do you think the pearl here is on Cold Stare? I don't even know if it's actually logically possible, but we are. The only reason I'm asking is because we're kind of closing in that hour 30 mark. And isn't that when the prediction set for?
Yeah, I mean, and Zelga's not doing a mimic clip to go upstairs. So I'm totally lost as to where the pearl could and couldn't logically be at this point. But hey, we're both doing Ice Palace now.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, chances are maybe Zelga had Ice Palace in mind when he had the glove and the hammer. You know, and so if you end up climbing GT, right, it'll take you to the top of the pyramid. And so Zelga probably didn't want to leave at that point.
And Solsky demonstrates why the vanilla game locks the gold sword behind Cold Stare, and there's our other bow.
That is a great find for Solsky. So this is going to be also really good for Zelga as well. So it's actually going to be kind of interesting because, you know, we know that the other bow is on Lake Hylia Island. We are eventually going to get a pearl at some point. Going to be, I guess, a bit of a question whether or not either runner is going to go for silvers at that point because it is kind of out of the way, right? It's not exactly like a very fast pickup. But, you know...
Right, and you have the butter sword already.
Right, exactly, yeah. So, of course, it could save some time on Ganon, but, you know, for how competitive these racers are, I can certainly see neither one of them deciding to go pick up that bow.
And looks like Solsky is going to do the GT climb now.
That's amazing, actually, Drosy. So we can finally, in this case, so Solsky, actually, is that where he's going to go back to?
And, I mean, what else would he be doing in GT? He doesn't have
that's-
Samaria. The climb's the only thing he can do.
Yeah, alright. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be 5 more checks for us. We do have the hook shot in order to get over the Moldering 2 gap. You know, certainly can't make any use of boots tech because we, well, don't have any boots.
So what do you think? Moon Pearl and Thieves Hideout?
Oh man, Drosy, that would be quite something.
But yeah, unfortunately for the people who bet sub 130, I don't think Solsky's gonna get to the upstairs checks in the next 45 seconds.
Yeah, even if he had teleportation powers and boots or whatever, probably not gonna happen. Alright, so does that mean we're gonna do a new prediction, Drosy, at the 2-hour mark? Minute 45 mark? Where do we think that pearl is gonna be? Yeah, no boots still either. I mean, so that means that Solsky is gonna have to do this boostless, basically, boostless gauntlet, which certainly is not very enjoyable, but the fact that he does have half magic, fire rod, gold sword, couple of arrows to his name, certainly should not be much of an issue for him. Alright, so of course Zelga, having already visited Ice Palace the first time, you know, he doesn't have to make basically a lot of other checks. He is basically now going to go straight down to Cold Stare. Probably going to have a hopefully similar fight to Solsky, you know, just fire on him a bunch to break his shell, and then, you know, a couple slashes and spins, and
okay. While Solsky's doing this climb, we're getting another quick prediction in before he gets upstairs.
Okay,
is he gonna find the Moon Pearl upstairs or in Thieves' Hideout, or is it gonna be somewhere else?
Alright. So is the Moon Pearl basically here at Upper GT or right behind Agatu? That is gonna be the question. Now, unfortunately, okay, so Solsky, okay, so he does have to fight Ganon right after Agatu, of course. Does have to maybe be a little bit careful, just to watch his health. Solsky also reminding us that there is no Samaria, so no, you know, satisfying rooms done with Samaria for Wizdrove. He's gonna have to kind of resort to the bow. And it looks like Zelga, after picking up his bow from Ice Palace, has exactly the same idea as Solsky. He is going to climb. Yeah, we're seeing some of the consequences of, while you still have a lot of offensive power with that gold sword, you know, sometimes you really just can't beat boots, especially on rooms where basically you have these like long hallways, right? You just want to dash right through the enemies.
Well, both of our runners doing the climb now, so we'll be on pretty even footing. Solsky still doesn't know about the back of Desert, nor has he gotten the Ice Rod.
Yeah, so the good news for Solsky is that he's going to be warped on the pyramid, and so he is going to be able to check that, the vanilla Castle Tower location.
That's true.
But that Ice Rod, though, and Bombo's tablet, might elude him for a bit.
And Solsky still hasn't gotten Desert Big.
Oh, right, yeah.
So even though he'll find it, he won't be able to do it. where Zelga will probably just finish off Desert. And there's the Cane of Samaria. That could be our next progression. Finishing Mire, well, can't finish Turtle Rock because we don't have the big key, but we can sure do a lot more of it.
Yeah, that the Cane of Samaria though, the fact that it is in pre-Moldern chest. What do we have actually here? Okay, big key to pod. Solsky is.
Solsky.
Oh,
he wants to use that Samaria, right? There are 5 more checks now here.
Oh,
wow.
Oh man. Oh, okay, so Strassi actually does. So what does this do for our prediction? Is this gonna count if the Pearl is here in Compass Room or Tile Room?
No, I listed 5 specific locations in that prediction. Upstairs, Ganon Tower, or Thieves' Hideout. So if it's here, that does not count for, like, it being upstairs.
So this is going to be the most amazing Pearl location, Drossi. We have trekked over an hour and 30 minutes at this point to try and find this one orb that we've been looking for the entire game.
The thing is, I would think, since we have the flute, it would be faster to later flute to 1 and do the rest of GT Basement rather than mirroring and now you've isolated.
Yeah, that also very well
You've
could be.
isolated Thieves' Hideout.
Maybe Solsky is, I guess, willing to make that decision just because, Thieves Drop Down only gives you 1 item, but, Right Side GT gives you another 5. I don't know. I mean, we guys are really asking about this decision, and I'm actually very curious to see what Zelga decides to do, in the same exact situation.
But Zelga also knows where Desert Back is, and he has the big key, so I think he's more likely to just finish this off. Then he can check Thieves' Hideout, he can finish Desert.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing Solsky got for his mirroring was a Mire small key that he doesn't need.
He got a vanilla GT compass. I'm sure that makes him feel so much better at this point. Alright, so Solsky looks like he is going to opt to, and of course, not reclimb at this point. Where is he? He's gonna chase on the glove lock locations.
Right, a lot of the stuff that Zelga's already done.
Mm-hmm. I actually liked how the bunny beam actually immediately froze when Zelga picked up the Cane of Samaria from the chest. It actually looked like it was like one of those like call out like action things, like you found the Cane of Samaria type of thing. I thought that looked kind of cute.
And Zelga is continuing on to Agatu.
Oh right, yeah. Looks like Solsky, with his very nice rupee count, has encountered, in this case, the back of Skullwoods. So very similar to Zelga, he had a very similar idea in mind to try and clean up some of the glove lock locations. We did see, of course, on Zelga's side that this was a, well, also on Solsky's side, this could be a pendant, but also nothing of value, clearing out this place.
And remember that the item in the Thieves' Hideout is a freestanding item, so even in bunny form we can grab it.
Zelga is trying to make his Agatu fight as fast as he possibly can. Yeah, Solsky, though, in the back of Skullwoods, so of course he has a gold sword, which is very different than Zelga's master sword. Half magic fire rod. Should be good to go. And yes, also audibly reminded, Drossi, you did mention that even as a bunny we can get this item. We are hearing bunny music dropping down after Agatu on Zelga's side. At the hour
and he's going to leave us in suspense and finish Desert first.
Yeah. Alright, so, well, what could it probably be here? I don't know.
I mean, I don't blame him. It's a surefire crystal. It'll be his third. That'll
yeah.
even the count with Solsky.
I'm going to There might be some heckling going on if like the Thieves drop down has boots or something, and Zelda could have had this just a little bit earlier. But chances are maybe he just didn't want to, you know, drop down, reclimb the pyramid, and then come back up here, right? Just is much faster to go to like a mirror transition, do desert, hop right back in your portal, and then drop down.
And Solsky will also, by finishing Meyer here, give us our final piece of crystal versus pendant information. Because whatever he gets here in Meyer, Pod has the upper.
Yeah, so certainly hoping that, well, so I guess we're gonna see if that Pod Vicky is actually be worth something. Alright, nothing on Lamos himself, or themselves in this case, just 3 more bombs, and now we're finally going to figure out what is behind the Thieves drop down. So certainly the climb, for sure, was required, right? Because if we found the Cane of Samaria, unsure if this case of defeating Agatu was actually going to be important, because this is going to be pretty big for Solsky. If there is nothing here, and Solsky never goes back, it's going to be time given back to Solsky.
Here we go. Just a shield!
Thinking that Solsky is not going to need that to finish up the seed. Alright, so chances are, Zelda, having the Cane of Samaria, he is probably going to just follow Solsky's footsteps in this case and just go straight into Meyer. He also does have, I think, all the other dungeons, I guess, available to him. I mean, not Swamp, but he can also, I think, do Thieves, I want to say. Is this what Thieves is? This is where Thieves is, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is not going to be any new information for us, you know, as viewers, because we already saw Solsky do this earlier. This is a 5-6 crystal. You know, the pyramid, the fact that Zelka was on the pyramid reminded, at least me, that Pyramid Fairy is, of course, going to be available to him.
And Zelga has the glove, so he will have a slightly faster time of doing this than
That's right,
did.
yeah. If nothing else, he's not going to have this slight, like, oh no, I don't have the glove realization moment that Solsky did. Alright. Meyer, or Vitreous down for Solsky. It is our portal! We finally, okay, so, you know what, it doesn't matter because we both need the Meyer Vicky and the Pod Vicky and Cane of Samaria in order to get our Moon Pearl off of Pendant Vitreous.
Wow!
That is amazing. Alright, so, you know, Jurassic, we at least beat the 1 hour 45 mark in order to find our Moon Pearl at this point. Zelda might not, but Solsky certainly did.
Pendant Vitreous, just where you love to see your moon.
Yeah. Alright, Solsky, finally having his pearl to his name, can actually take this another fairy ascent up to Floating Island, so now he's actually going to do some things in Dark World as his original Link or Eggplant form.
We're kind of short on Pod Small Keys, though. I think Zelga still has one, yes?
Yes, I believe he did save one. He had 3 going in, and I think he took like the long detour route in order to try and save his key. Being in Pod Small Key Go mode isn't really the most pleasant, for sure. So I think maybe that's why Zelga decided to save it.
Right. No, point is just that he has the ability to rush Helma if he wants to.
Oh yeah.
And that would get him another crystal. Solsky, meanwhile, doing Turtle Rock from the front. Turtle Rock Big Key, one of the few items we still need.
Oh yeah, and he has a Fire Rod as well, so he's going to be able to check Roller Room for another 2 checks here. I'm trying to remember if there's anything of value that we found in Pod, at least on Zelga's side.
I don't think so. I mean, obviously the hammer in front, but they both...
Oh, right, yeah. Solsky, well, he is going the direction that he does not have the hook shot in, but he does have the hook shot in this case. Maybe he just, didn't...
Oh yeah, and chat reminding us, Solsky will have to do Bombos at some point to get those flips.
Yeah, and in addition to the flippers, right? I mean, once he gets the flippers, I think Hobo, is going to be a very natural check for him. But even if he sequence breaks out Hobo, yeah, as you said, Rossi, the Bombo's tablet check is very, very important because we still need to beat Swamp Palace today.
And we still need to find Dam.
Yeah, that's right. We're still missing a good number of entrances. So we don't still know what what's it? A Turtle Rock entry medallion is. So that is going to be another entrance. We are also still missing, for example, like mitts and boots. Those also do lock a good number of other entrances as well.
And Solsky going to full clear Eastern here. He has not been in at all.
Yeah, I
So
think
that'll
this
be
is
two
exactly.
new checks for us.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what Solsky wanted, and to have happen, of course, to be able to single dip Eastern Palace. Of course, that's what Zelka wanted probably as well, but it wasn't quite in the cards for him. Solsky does finding that big key to Hera. We know there's nothing in the big chest, but that is going to be something maybe that Solsky will now think about and trying to get back there.
So another entrance we haven't found is Sahasrala. So once Solsky gets to the final, turn it in.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about Sahasrala. Like, that is also a pretty important entrance. Not only is it, of course, a 3-item cave, Solsky, the fact that we know the green pendant is Eastern Palace, and Solsky is going to be able to clear it. We would like to really be able to turn that pendant in. Maybe it'll be Vanilla Boots.
You'll have to find Saha first.
Oh, right, and the fact that, Solsky does have Eastern Palace Big Key.
Cane of Burna, that puts Spike Cave in logic.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Zelga found Spike Cave at, Light World Bumper Ledge, I think? And no hammer at the time, or glove for that matter. And of course no invisibility item means that we were not able to basically access that. This has been such a ride, Drosy, so far. Of course, Zelga being very close to Vitreous at this point, he is going to be chagrined at this point to find his pearl slightly over the hour 45 mark. Probably not going to be much more than that, but yeah, not oftentimes you get to see such a late moon pearl after having so much extra stuff.
So we basically have Pod, Swamp, and TR left. And they both have an extra key to finish Pod if they want to. Swamp, we need the damn TR, we need the big key, and that's about it.
Yeah, so, oh man, Zelga, please be careful. He does have a fairy, at least one, to his name, because if we picked that up in Up Air GT. But, he is still on green mail. Everything basically at this point will kill him. Thank you for having all of those arrows somehow. Alright, looks like he is out of the danger zone. Basically, very nice archery skills on Zelga's side. You should maybe try that with Lamilla sometime, that wooden arrow. But he eventually is able to claim his moon pearl.
Hey, I just realized something.
What's that, Drosy?
Solsky's about to get his third pendant. We haven't had a ped check yet.
Oh, dude, you're right. We had such a late book, and we were nowhere close to Lost Woods at this point, where we weren't even be able to check what was on there. Alright, so so I guess pod, all of our pod smalls, instead of being in pod, are just in Eastern Palace today. That's fine too.
And logically, they're all required.
Yeah, just in order to beat Crystal, Helmasaur, which of course we still need a Pendant Vitreous in order to claim our Moon Pearl too. But I guess now Solsky has 4 pod smalls to his name in addition to the big key, so that actually could be a pretty good location for him as well. But you know what, Drosy? Looks like you have accurately predicted what Solsky wants to do. He's got, I don't know why he has a book out of all things, because he has all 3 pendants, but he is going to be able to give us a pedestal check here.
And Hype Cave was just bonk rocks with a heart container today.
Zelga's like, finally, I can do all my Dark World.
I'm only slightly disappointed that Solsky actually has the book out and isn't just going to do a blind pull at this point.
I'm really hoping for Solsty's sake that he is actually just luring us with that book. Looks like not, but alright, powder is actually pretty important.
Yeah, there is that one unknown item on Magic Bat behind Aga 1.
Solsky, we will remember you reading the pedestal before you ended up blind pulling it.
The only item we need is the big key to Turtle Rock, though Solsky still doesn't have his Ice Rod or Flippers. But if that big key to Turtle Rock is on Magic Bat...
Oh man, that would be nuts. What a chain that would actually end up being. Looks like though on Zelga's side, so he actually ended up taking Hype Cave entrance to Lake Highlight Island. He did pick up his silvers.
Hey,
looks like though we found the dam.
Yeah.
That I believe is our last required entrance that we were in fact looking for.
So we just need TR Big Key for Zelda's Go mode. If Solsky finds it, it would be our No mode.
Yeah. That Turtle Rock Big Key, well, it's not like the worst Big Key in order to be searching for. It does, it certainly can't be in a few locations, but hopefully Zelga's not going to have too hard of a time searching for it. We do have Swamp Palace now open to us completely.
Hey, and pulling the dam gives us a small key, probably pod. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Zelga now has his basically choice of which dungeons he wants to complete, right? So he has pod open to him completely. He has Swamp Palace open to him completely. These are very viable locations for him to be checking, for where that Turtle Rock Big Key is. Solsky, on the other hand, has found Sahashla, turned his green pendant, which was not for anything. But if the GC Big Key is here, or the TR Big Key is not here.
So Saha's nothing. This is really intriguing now.
This is a foot race at this point? Not even a running race. To find this TR Big Key. Alright, looks like though... Okay, Zelga is gonna opt to try and do Swamp Palace first. He is one item from, in this case, Go mode for him, in order to be completing everything. So, Swamp Palace, as we've seen, because we picked up a compass earlier from our wave, basically, of early compasses, we can count along with Zelga to see how many items he has left. We find, well, a small key to Hera, which is not great. We don't want to sit through another tire room basically at this point, but, if TR Big Key is there, well, it's gonna be more power to Zelga.
Well, in the meantime, we'll get another prediction going of, is that TR Big just gonna show up here in Swamp now that we finally can get in?
Okay, and of course, and a Hera basement does not count, right? Even though we found the Hera small key. Alright. Now, of course, another question for Zelga is that if he is going to choose to do a left side swamp as well, this is always going to be somewhat more of a difficult decision. I can't imagine him doing it in, I guess, in the first go around, even especially because he is only one item away from Go mode. But
there was the Desert Big, so there was something in the back of pod.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Solskis, for reminding us of this. Yeah, and of course, Solsky, of course, being in another dungeon that is fully clearable both to him and Zelga, he is going to give us a couple of newer checks. Looks like he's going to check Harmless Hellway, and of course, I'm sure he can save a key in order to access the back to go to Helvesaur.
So the thing about left side swamp is this is Key Sanity. You know there are 2 items there.
Mm-hmm. It is certainly still a pretty hefty time commitment, right, in order to go get those 2 items, so it's alright. So the fact that Zelga is, of course, doing the back first, he knows he has to complete this crystal. If, in this case, TR Big is just on his way, he's going to feel maybe kind of silly in order to, do the left side for basically, a minute plus worth of nothing. Of course. Wouldn't it be nice if we could find some boots at this point?
And Solsky gets his second Castle Tower small, so now he has Magic Bat available.
That is such a long... I mean, if we thought left side swap was a long time commitment, if we're climbing Aga Tower, and then also doing not only like, it's not even a fast check after Aga Tower too, right? It is a Magic Bat check, which is also slow. We also need the boots, by the way, or if it's a Lumberjack?
Yes, we would need the boots for that as well.
Alright.
To answer chat, flippers are on Bombo's tablet. Nice and available, Solsky just hasn't gone there.
Yeah, Solsky right now, he needs slippers from Bombo's tablet, as we just said, and he also needs the ice rod from Hobo. So,
and we see the beauty of the silver arrow, by the way, on Argus there.
Yes. Maybe that was a decision that, Zelga wanted to make at that point. We did, of course, finish off Vitreous, which was, of course, a very, nice candidate in order to use silver arrows on. But, especially if silvers were on the way for Zelga, a very natural decision for him to pick it up.
Where is Zelga off to now? He's not doing left side swamp.
Alright, this is going to be 2 items left for Zelga. Hopefully he does make the right decision. Is this going to be maybe back to GT for Zelga?
Oh, right side GT basement, yeah.
Yeah.
Which we know is junk, but as far as he's concerned, it's 5 checks.
That's right, yeah. So chances are, if he can get back to Swamp relatively easily, especially with that flute, right? And the fact that he has another, basically 5-item cave at this point, right? It's going to be really lucrative for him.
I mean, not that tile room's a great check, but at this point you do it.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. Solsky on Helmasaur, if you thought that there was a reason why Colster locked the gold sword, Helmasaur is an even better example of just how fast enemies go down with that sword. TR Big, though, is not on Helmasaur, but Solsky does claim another crystal to his name. At least we're still making progress. So right now, I think Solsky is kind of bottlenecked. He needs, I think we mentioned earlier, he needs slippers from Bombo's tablet. He needs the ice rod from Hobo. It's going to be a pretty natural check afterwards. He also needs to go back to the pyramid and get himself into the back of Desert Palace, because that's where Desert Back is at the Vanilla Castle Tower location.
Zelga was really hoping that Compass Room would just be the answer, and now he's gonna do Tile Room, and maybe then he'll go to Left Side Swamp.
All right, yeah. Oh, Solsky! All right, wait, I've totally forgotten about this check.
So did I.
We have a Pearl now, so we can do Dig Game just shy of the 2-hour mark. What if this is TR Big, Drosy? It's gonna be amazing. Oh, just vanilla. Big piece of hearts.
Cute Samaria strats there for Tile Room.
Yeah, Solsky also reminding us that Stumpy is another check that we could not access without that Moon Pearl. That's right, like neither runner has been back
right,
to
because you can't cut the
world.
bushes to get to him.
Yeah. Alright, so Zelga thoroughly disappointed with his, I guess, remaining compasses that he picked up because he's pretty much already done all the dungeons they're used for. Has resigned himself to get out, and we are going, where are we going?
To answer chat, no, we have not done Smith Chain. Zelga really likes this connector.
Yeah. Zelga also walking by the one of the few places where we know that Turtle Rock Big Key cannot be, which is in, of course, the big chest itself. Oh! Speaking of, so this is going to be Spike Cave for Zelga.
Oh, right.
So at some point, we are going to run out of entrances. Maybe. I don't know if that's going to funnel Zelga back into Left Side Swamp. I mean, so at this point, we're almost at the 2-hour mark, right? And I don't know if we want to see Boots. Well, we want to see Boots always. I don't know if we want to see Mitts. Because especially if
blue mail.
Oh yeah, for Zelka. Zelka's like, I avoided the mail for so long, and I finally have to go pick this up. Okay, so this is going to be good news for Solsky. He is going to be able to find a desert back here because he has one more entrance that he could check up here. So he's going to be able to claim his next crystal.
We think Zelga's going to finish off pod now? No, he's going in here. I forget what was here. Have we not seen it yet?
I don't think
front of tavern.
I don't think we've seen these checks, right? Because we needed the pearl in order to get into here. Unless there was going to be another connector that took us exactly to that location, but, you know, it's the tavern, so the answer was no. Okay, so it looks like Zelga's going to probably repeat some of Solsky's actually very earlier checks because, well, we have a pearl now, so we can actually do things. Alright, meanwhile though, Solsky, already at the back of Desert Palace, you know, he has a fire rod, he's got half magic, he should be fine. Yeah, so right now, alright, so, if you are, well, okay. If Turtle Rock Big Key is in Left Side Swamp, and this is probably going to be one of the last places Zelga at least goes back to if he has no other options, right? So I don't know if, if it's really there, and Zelga ends up finding, like, mitts or something like that before he goes back to Left Side Swamp, it is going to be quite the goose chase for Zelga.
Now, Zelga also has a lot of keys. He could do Harmless Hellway. He could do Pod Big Chest, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Yeah.
Key Chest. Maybe not. Maybe he only has 4 Pod Smalls.
Well, that's what it says according to our tracker. So yeah, so I mean, he'll definitely beat Helma with one of those keys. And then whether or not he chooses to do the vanilla big key chest versus Harmless Hellway, I'm not sure if he has a preference, I guess, for that. Oh wait, we certainly did see Solsky do Harmless Hellway, which was, I think, was just a map. I don't think we've seen the vanilla big key chest yet.
Hey, these are new checks for Solsky now.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. These were all pearl locked because we couldn't get here any other way. Yeah, Zelga. All right, back into pod. So this is going to be his, what, 6th crystal at this point that he's going to be able to finish up?
Now the question is, with 1 extra key, do you do like the vanilla big key chest and then try to save scum it otherwise?
Yeah, no, that's also a good point. I don't remember the last time he saved and quit though. Alright, Catfish not paying out for Solsky. Not even gonna bother to pick up, of course, the map because right now, of course, we have all of our pendant crystal knowledge. It's not gonna be any use for him. I guess one unfortunate thing, looks like Solsky's gonna try and do a fake flipper maybe over to Dark Shopping Mall area. So I was gonna say, one kind of unfortunate thing for Solsky is that he does not have the flippers from Bombo's tablet that, of course, we know is requisite for finishing up the scene. So he can't even, like, walk over to, you know, that bridge near the pyramid in order to check Hobo. He's going to have to set up a fake flipper here. Did a pretty good job, though, of course, getting into the portal.
Yeah, it's really at the point of, you know, whoever finds TR Big first will have the advantage, but Solsky still needs to get that Ice Rod and those flippers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right now, and Bombo's tablet isn't like super convenient, right? So I think Zelka ended up doing a lot of bunny walking at the time. Solsky did do some of South Dark World already, like he's done like the Stumpy, you know, dig game part. He didn't go quite south, so that part is still open to him. So hopefully, or at least for his sake, he gets there sooner rather than later. I would also like to point out we're at like the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much, by the way, to our trackers, Akuhaish and Daruk, basically marking everything for us and keeping us all in line. Certainly some veteran cross keys trackers and entrance trackers. So thank you so much.
And while we're at it, please give these runners a follow too. They are really top tier runners, as we said at the beginning of the match, in terms of the accolades they've gotten over the years. And just fun to watch play.
All right, Zelga, having nabbed his 6th crystal, looks like he is going to go back in. All right, let's see which choices he decides to end up making in this case.
I mean, he's clearly going to do big chest, but in that case, do you do Harmless Hellway first? I would do Harmless Hellway if I'm going to this trouble.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah.
Alright, so this is not going to be any difference then in terms of a number of checks here made in pod, between Solsky and Zelga.
Oh, did Solsky do Harmless Hellway?
He did, yeah.
Okay, I missed that.
Certainly, though, one advantage or potential advantage that Solsky does have is that, he has a completed Eastern Palace. He did not blind pull pedestal, but he did pull powder out of the pedestal. And so, well, that means that if there is something indeed on Magic Bat, Solsky does have at least a 1 dungeon advantage over Zelga.
And Zelga's gonna find a whole lot of nothing in the dig game.
Alright, so speaking of entrances in this case, I think Zelga probably checked that earlier, and I just must have missed it, but Solsky, of course, did find the Smiths not accessible to us at this point because we are still missing Mitts. Solsky also walking past Bonk Rocks, we still cannot access that because we have no boots. You would think that boots at some point would show up after the 2-minute mark, or 2-hour mark. Actually, I don't know if you remember from the race notes, Strassi, but I think Solsky, when he put this down, he was like, quick cross, maybe? And, this is actually quite the contrast, right? Because,
yeah.
Quick cross, starts with flute, boots, and sword, and we're still searching here.
I'm sure he wishes this were quick cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just realized Solsky had never checked Sanctuary and found that it was Useless Fairy, so he didn't even know that
oh yeah, that's
that Thieves' Hideout had to be in Pyramid. So now he knows that this could be... No, he's not going to climb GT. That would be crazy.
Well, right. I mean, but also, like, the fact that he's coming over here is not the way to GT, right? Because GT's a Hera, so he would just...
Right, yeah. No, that's why I was saying he's not going to climb GT, because I realized he wasn't ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new entrance for Zelga. Ooh, chest game.
Yeah, I want to say that we saw...
the Arrow of Destiny.
Yeah, I think Solsky came up here earlier because he went through the Fairy Ascent connector, got to Floating Island, and then checked that after he got his Pearl. So it looks like, though, well, we're just gonna repeat everything that Zelga's gonna repeat everything that Solsky has done. Somehow walking in here with 4 turtle rockies.
Whatchamacallit, we never did find the laser proof.
Yeah, we're definitely still searching, and Turtle Rock Big Key certainly could be there, right?
Only if we find the entrance.
Yes, we still need that.
Otherwise, it's locked behind the Turtle Rock Key.
Oh, that's right.
Solsky never did checkerboard. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You reminded us earlier that it was actually vanilla checkerboard location.
Oh, here's the Castle Tower climb. Though we still don't have boots to actually get Magic Bat afterwards.
Surely the boots will show up at some point, right? Surely. 2 hours into the seed.
And here's Zelga finishing off Eastern as well, which will make him able to pull the powder off of Ped.
Yeah. So he was, of course, in here earlier, so the only two remaining checks, as we clearly can see from our awesome compass at Eastern Palace, we have 2 checks remaining. One, of course, is on Armos, and one is going to be on the big chest.
Speaking of Armos, chat is reminding us that we could do Armos shake storage if we really want to get at that magic pad.
Wow. Oh, no. Alright, Solsky, you have to do this now because you are committed to doing this without boots. I want to actually say there was actually some previous race where it was actually possible for Zelga to do that exact thing. He was climbing in order to get something off of Lumberjack, and the last possible check available to him was the second chest of Castle Tower, and it had boots. At like the minute, hour, whatever, 50-minute mark or something like that, and it was just so disappointing. So Solsky, come and show us this.
But by the way, Zelga's going to have a really fast Armos fight here. Solsky never did. Oh, Solsky still doesn't have the flip, so of course he never does.
Sorry, what does Solsky not have?
Silvers, because Zelga's going to have a nice, easy time with Ice Armos here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, chat pointing out that you can't do Armos shake storage when Ice Armos is in the light world.
Wait, really? Alright.
All these details about Armos shake storage,
I guess I'm gonna go and read up on my Armos shake storage memo from the Racing Council.
But with that extra pod small, Zelga could do the vanilla big key chester pod.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious now if he'll actually end up going back. So I'm sure he'll probably make turning in Green Pendant as a priority. Pedestal is probably also going to be a priority for him as well, just because he did commit the time in order to finish up Eastern Palace. But yeah, that extra pot key is going to give him another check, in this case, in pot.
Green Pendant was a piece of heart, which Zelga will find out when he turns it in. And so far, no blue balls. That was the mythical 0 blue ball Aga. Oh, Zelga's gonna do the head pull and check. That was a very convenient connector. I don't think we had seen that before, so it must have been just a blind connector that happily came out in the right place. Zelga's doing it blind.
Good job, Zelga. I am very proud of you. You are doing the right thing. Don't take advice from Solsky in this case.
Oh, and Solsky is doing Hera... No, he still doesn't have the Hera small key. Oh, right, he never had the Hera big key, so he never checked the big chest. But Zelga has the Hera small, so that's another place TR big could be.
Oh yeah, that's right. Zelga ended up picking up the Hera small at some point, man. We are, of course, this is somewhat more expected, of course. We are at past the 2-hour mark at this point, 2-hour 10 at this point, and the number of checks, of course, that we've done already previous to this, were always the nice ones, and well, when you've eliminated all of the nice checks, you're pretty much left, and stuck with the ones that you don't want to go do anymore.
We've got a bunch of one-offs, or 2-off in the case of Left Side Swamp.
Oh yeah, that's right. Zelga also intentionally, well, I don't know if intentionally or not, but he consciously chose, in this case, to leave 2 items behind in Left Side Swamp. Yep, Zelga. Well, so he already had suffered through 1 tile room in GT Basement, begrudgingly after checking out Compass Room on right side GT, which yielded, I think, like 3 compasses or something. Is now back for round 2.
Who the heck does 2 tile rooms and doesn't do left side swamp?
Well, you know, this is going to be another great question for us to ask Zelda when he eventually comes in here for an interview, because I am going to assume that at some point they are going to run out of things to do and finish the seed. All right, where is... Okay, so I'm guessing, you know, based on the fact that Solsky is also in the similar vicinity, he is also going to presumably go through the same situation? Maybe not.
Just a heart container out of Hera.
All right, okay, so that is, I guess, Hera done for Zelda?
We're at 18 hearts now.
Yeah, great. Zelda's like, I try to avoid red mail for blue mail for so long, and yet you still give me all this health. So this looks like the fact that he's over here at Brother's left. It's going to be a trip into Pod, and probably check the middle Vicky chest.
Yeah, that is the one thing we haven't seen in Pod. And where is Solsky going?
Is he taking his... no, he can't get into Laser Bridge, right? He cannot get
Right,
there.
no, I think he just hasn't done these checks yet. He never did Lava Chest.
Oh! Oh, was he really?
Or not? Or does he just not feel comfortable doing the bomb jump that
I see.
Zelda always uses with that connector?
Yeah, I guess. Maybe he likes it when to bonk over, maybe?
And Pod's a bust.
Yep, that's right. Alright, so yeah, Zelda pulling out 50 more rupees from Vanilla Big Key chest, so not going to be something that we're looking for. If Shop Sanity existed, maybe it could be okay, but yeah, we're definitely looking for that one Turtle Rock Big Key at this point. Solsky picking up his white mail from Spike Cave.
Paradox Cave Descent, not something you see very often.
Yeah.
Oh, Turtle Rock entrance. I don't think we've seen that yet. Oh, still don't have mitts. Shoot. No,
still
he's doing the
mitts.
Pyramid Fairy location.
Yeah. Oh my
wow.
gosh. This is gonna be quite the trek. The fact that Pyramid is all the way here.
This is when you just flute to 5 and take a long walk.
Yeah, thank you, flute. Yeah, we actually have to take a walk. You know, typically speaking, you know, you've seen some runners, you know, they try and like hookshot over to an item and then in the interim try and dash. Well, you know what? We can't dash still because we have no boots.
You still use the hookshot when you have something to pull yourself onto.
Yeah, he's always trying. I'm sure he you know knows every single hookable thing on his path, but it just looks like there's not going to be very much. I mean, so at this point,
I'm starting to worry that the boots are on left side swamp and TR Big is in on Magic Bat.
Yeah, I mean, right, something, right? Looks like it's just more and more likely because, you know, Zelda and Solsky have actually given us, basically, you know, like, the rest of the checks. You know, we'll see what's in here, Pyramid Fairy, but the fact that Zelda, you know, we haven't seen basically left side swamp from Zelda is, you know, becoming basically more and more worrisome, right? That he's going to have to go back.
And it looks like Solsky might get his flippers in the very near future.
Oh, this is going to be very good news for Solsky.
Zelda's gonna find out that Catfish has nothing.
Yeah, this might be the end of his path because, you know, Zelda's already done all of the water checks as well. He's done Zora, he's done Waterfall Fairy. But I mean, like, what else do we have left at this point? Is my question. You know, because right now, we still don't have mitts, we still don't have boots, and those are actually still items that actually will unlock us more stuff, right? Whether it's entrances or actually items, right? For example, we can do Smith Chain, we can see the entrance of what we can actually do, like Turtle Rock Main, in this case, right? Because we'll have mitts.
Oh, this is interesting. Solsky is rushing to Swamp. He did not do the flippers checks, he does not have the Ice Rod.
Okay. This is of course very reasonable for Solsky, right? We have, he finally found Flippers, which was basically his entry into another fully clearable crystal dungeon. So certainly from his perspective, this is going to be very good, especially if everything he needs is right here, right? Hobo is not something that in this case, you would just rush to, right?
And back to the mountain goes Zelga, so we could be getting a bit of a high five here in Swamp.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Drossi. Zelga has pretty much exhausted, I think, the rest of his options. Probably, regretting the fact that he did skip left side. I will say that based on, a lot of Zelga's track record with Left Side Swamp, it has not always been, I would believe, a net positive for him for whatever decision he ends up making. So this might be just another one for the pile.
Yeah, Zelga will probably pass Solsky somewhere here in the front part as he makes his way directly to the left side.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly for Solsky, right, because he is 2 items from Go mode, right, as opposed to when Zelga was here, he was only 1 item for Go mode, right? So Solsky, of course, does still not have the Ice Rod, which we know is on Hobo, but from Solsky's perspective, right, he's still missing 2 items, so very natural, of course, for him to do left side first.
Right, and is this a total last location for Zelga? I can't think of anything else he hasn't done.
I can't think of anything else, right? I mean, he hasn't done Agate 1, I guess, for what it's worth, but we still don't have boots, right? So it's not like he can access them anyway. But I think he's actually just done everything possible at this point. I wonder if that's the chest that's going to just tempt Zelga, just bait him at this point. I could have had you 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is the hype moment.
At least
Chad asking about Vanilla Thieves Town entrance. That was actually an exit from Desert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think both of them have taken that connector multiple times at this point.
Okay, going left side. And Solsky being able to diver down is not going to be very far behind Zelga, though of course Solsky will have to beat Argus as well while he's in here.
Right. Okay, alright, so if you are a fan of this race ending soon, the Turtle Rock Big will be here somewhere on left side swamp, whether it's the left chest or the right chest. If you are a fan of Zelga and Solsky having some fun for the seed, you will help for boots. To be either here. If you are hoping for more rando content,
oh boots! There we are!
Oh man, that's awesome! Oh my god, there it is! Oh no! The final condition was, if you want the seed to keep going and us to get more rando content from these racers, you're gonna want to find the myths here. Oh my gosh!
Well, now we have.
What do you do? Holy frick!
We have Smithbane, we have Turtle Rock entrance.
We have the rest of the world completely.
We have 3 Bonk Rocks.
Oh my gosh.
We have Ice Palace entrance.
Okay. Where do you start, Drossi, at this point? I mean, it looks
apparently
like
Zelga starts at Ice Palace entrance.
Okay, alright. So, right now, oh man,
what a cave!
It's like cave. Oh, what a scene, man. Alright. Okay, so insert on the key here. We have 4 more chances, 3 more chances. We got a bottle.
Fourth bottle.
We don't even care. Why are we mirroring? Oh, this was that's right. This was Vanilla Ice Palace location. All right, so we don't care anymore if it's not a big key, which I believe we actually at this point we found every single big key, right? We don't care if it's anything else.
Yeah. So much is open, so I don't think Castle Tower Climb is particularly front and center on Zelga's mind.
You are correct. The fact that we do. Oh my god.
Oh, King's Tomb check.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have boots now, so we can actually access Lumberjack.
Line side!
Oh yeah, no, this Zelga's like, oh, I've totally made the best decisions after I made the total pro decision to skip left side swap. What is here in blindside? Money, math that we don't care about, fast forward, another compass we don't care about. Oh my gosh.
Zelga's probably questioning his life choices right now.
Here we are! Alright! At 2 hours and 21 minutes and 52 seconds, Zelga has finally found the big key to Turtle Rock. That is his go mode. Locked behind both. Well, this case I think is just locked behind the boots technically, but the fact that you had the mitts made things a whole heck of a lot nicer for you. Oh wow, what a scene.
Now we go to our closest TR entrance, the one that we keep using the connector in, only now we could use the big key to go to Laser Bridge.
Amazing. Oh. So you think he's gonna check anything at Laser Bridge, Rossi?
I would tend to doubt it. We have every bottle, we have powder, we have half magic, we have butter sword and silvers, we have 18 hearts.
But what if Zelga needs 19 hearts? I mean, he did skip the red mail upgrade, right? Very early on. I mean, how will he ever survive Ganon? Oh man, what a scene!
I mean, doing 2 tile rooms and pulling Ped before you do left side swamp. I've heard of a version to left side swamp, but
maybe the fact that he dove Eastern Palace early just took out all of his mental energy, right? He's like, I can't do this anymore. I have to skip something in this case, and it's gonna be left side swamp. Oh wow, what a scene! Alright, so Zelga, before they coming in here with 4 Turok small keys somehow, is going to basically only need one of them in order to access Trinex. Of course, he has the Ice Rod, which Solsky at this point is looking for. We know it is on Hobo. Zelga actually, after getting Zelga's path to Flippers and Bombos was that he did a lot of bunny walking, made his way into South Shore, Dark World version. Got Bombo's tablet, and then very naturally, of course, did his water checks after that. Solsky, though, having found the Flippers pretty late, he did have Swamp Palace open to him, which was another 10 checks for him with Flippers, so chose in this case to dive dungeon instead of doing some overworld checks.
Beautiful zero cycle Trinex there.
Yeah. Another compass to Turtle Rock, nice. Yeah, Solsky though, of course, demonstrating that, of course, after with some boots, you can actually, dash in this game. Amazing that actually does exist.
By the way, it's worth noting that as awful as this seed was, Zelga's still gonna finish sub 230.
Yes, barring nothing bad happening on Ganon, which certainly we hope nothing's bad is gonna happen. I agree with your assessment, Drossi. I mean, Zelga, anything can still happen, on Ganon. He can be quite the jerk, but the fact that Zelga is super decked out, right? 18 hearts, gold sword, which of course won't matter for the 1-in-1. He's also got silver, it's got half magic, fire rod, lamp.
Oh, and here, Solsky's finally going to check magic that as Zelga goes into phase 2 of Ganon. So we'll see what's been tempting us this whole time. It's hard.
Not, of course, what Solsky, of course, wanted to see. We know that he's still looking for that. Everything came down after everything that Solsky has gone through. It still came down to an Ice Rod hunt for him. Meanwhile, though, Zelga, man, we are so ready for Zelga to defeat Ganon at this point. Already on phase 4, needs 3 more arrows. Hopefully triple. Alright, looks great.
Get your GGs in for Zelga Desan, who will even this series at 1 game apiece.
Yeah, these runners have worked extra hard today, by the way. Get your GGs out in chat. Let's even get official time for Zelga.
His official time is 2:26:11.
What a adventure that we all had on. Looks like though Solsky most likely was watching the race room at this point. He was actually very close in this case to Turtle Rock Vicky, which we know of course is in the back of Blind's Hut, actually, but he's still, of course, looking for that ice rod. I get your G's in chat for Solsky. I mean, both of these guys ran an amazing. I mean, what a seed that had to go through in this case.
Yeah, Solsky after his forfeit now decides to check it back and there's that rock big key.
Yeah, looks like so. Now he just needs the ice rod, of course, from Hobo. We are joined here today, right now, with our victor for this for this adventure of a seed, Zelga. GG's.
Hey, GG's. Thank you very much.
So, Zelga, congratulations on keeping your pristine win record in League this season. You are currently undefeated. Tell us about what your thoughts were while playing the seed. And did you feel bad at all from that mirror, for example?
Yeah, the mirror felt absolutely terrible. Everything pretty much just felt absolutely terrible. I actually didn't feel too bad when I saw the pearl. I was like, there's no way anybody's getting that super fast. But everything else was just... I knew I had to be late to the mirror. I figured I was probably late to the hammer. I figured I was probably late to, honestly, pretty much everything. When I got Samaria from the top of GT and then that led to the pearl, that's when I felt like, okay, maybe I'm still in this. But everything was so rough. And then obviously the left side swamp of the gods having everything that mattered. Yeah, there's just a lot of fun in this one.
Fine. Right. Okay. So I guess question number one was, what was your decision to sway you from not, bunny walking when you first got out of like the pod entrance, and then two was, what was your decision for, I guess, delaying left side swamp in this case?
So I really hate bunny walking if I don't already have a mirror or something like that. So when I got dumped out of pod, I started to head that way to the pyramid, and I was like, nah, I can probably find something more in the light world. It made sense to just go ahead and do that. And obviously it really did not pay off. But and then left side swamp. When I finally got the pearl, all I needed was the turtle rock big and find the dam for go mode. That was all I was missing. So it was just, hey, I found the dam as soon as I found the pearl, so let's just go do swamp. And then I still had like pod to go do. I still had plenty of a few other entrances that could have been like my high value, like blind.
You did 2 tile rooms before you went back to left side swamp.
Yeah, my only other options when I went back were there's the brewery chest at the bottom of Dark Death Mountain, and then the second chest of Aga Tower. That was all I had left when I went back.
Sounds like you're getting the cross-examination from Drosy there, Zelga. You need some help? You need like diamond.
I was just following up on Clear Mouse's cross-examination, but GG Solsky.
GG Solsky.
My head was not in the game for like an hour and 40 in match. For an hour and 40 of the match. It told Zelga why, but I'm not going to repeat it on stream. Yeah, so just any mistakes, just imagine it's because of that, because that was on my mind for like the last 30 especially, so pretty bad. I guess the funny part was climbing Aga Tower without boots, because I forgot I needed boots for it. But
oh, was that the reason?
I was a little not thinking of the game at that point.
I was convinced Magic Bat was going to be the answer, honestly, after Powder was on Ped and you were given those Castle Tower smalls.
Andy and I were just talking about, he's like, I was so close. He said that would have been Pog if it was there, because it would have been big, but yeah. It's just unfortunate. I had a race. I don't remember if it was cross keys or whatever, but I had a race once. Like 2018 tournament where I had flips on Bombos. I just like orphaned it forever, and it was like kind of the same situation. Just getting those swords in the book late, and kind of incentivized to kind of look for a pearl, because I'm like, all right, I'm running out of like good stuff to do. Now I'm getting into like really bad locations, and while I could do that, it was on my mind for like an hour and 30 minutes. I'm like, I could do that, but it doesn't really make sense. It just kind of sucked.
Yeah, Zelga, that was one thing that worked out for you, because you got the book relatively early before the mirror, notably, that let you do Bombos in the course of your bunny walking.
Yeah, that makes sense. With the book being in spiral, that's a kind of jank place to go, especially when you know where the other end of the connector is, and it's nowhere really helpful. So when I was up on the mountain, it just made sense to me to just get that chest out of the way, and I guess it paid out pretty well since that book was, and the book and the glove were both super required.
Mm-hmm. I doubt Titans were required at all because you could have just mirrored once you got those boots, but the Titans were right by the boots anyways, so it's kind of funny to think about.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
This game sucks.
Yeah, like when I saw boots, I was like, all right, we're going right to bat, and then I saw Titans, I'm like, this game sucks.
Yeah, those were two of Zelda's last items too before before everything
Yeah, we were
else.
chatting.
So
but honestly, yeah, go ahead, sir.
No, I was just gonna ask you. So Solsky, why did you read the pedestal before pulling it?
I don't. I won't be held to the whim of Twitch chat and just like blind pulling and pedestal and like all those kind of seeds and everything like that. So I just kind of save some time because my execution kind of falls off a little bit in cross keys just because your face is buried in a map tracker. Like I was walking into stuff a bunch of times where it's just like, hello, why am I like hooked into this tree? But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I'd rather just figure it out what it is and save some time rather than spend like 6-8 seconds pulling something I don't need. And I saw it was powder and I got really mad. But, like mad's relative. I had a lot of fun with the seed. I thought it was a super interesting seed. My expectations, I always tell this to people, like one of my secrets for cross keys, I just like have zero expectations. I am very chill about it. I just have as much fun as I can with it and just not worry about like competitiveness to it because there's so much variance. So it's like you're gonna take some L's and it's just how she goes.
Yeah, this was a really interesting seed. I agree. I think I would have had a lot more fun with it if it wasn't like the whole competitive league nature. Like if this was just a random ladder race, I would have been loving every second of this. But man, in like league stress, trying to get a win, trying to tie up the series and everything, this was awful trying to play.
Frame it, put it on the wall, and play it again in 2 years when you've forgotten all the tricks to it.
So I can't remember where I death warped, but I death warped and I forgot I had a fairy, so I had like 10 hearts to go.
That was Aga Tower. Yeah.
So like I was like, should I go for Red Bull or beer? And then I was like, I knocked something over, like my like coffee hot plate, and I was like, oh god, that's connected to power. I don't want to mess that up.
Oh,
and then the fairy popped up, so I just went back to my mini fridge and just got my Red Bull beer. I was like, all right, that works. Yeah, I didn't really mind. I was like, oh, the fairy's there. Well, I guess I could do this now. I'm just gonna be sitting there, so. But yeah, again, like super fun seed. I really, really enjoyed it. It's kind of funny. Another GT climb for your pearl. I think I can't remember, Andy and I had one 2 seeds ago or last seed that we did. But it was basically very similar. Like you climbed Aga for like a pearl, basically.
Yeah. So Solsky, speaking of the GT climb, we were a bit surprised, given how relatively easy GT was to access, that you didn't just finish off Aga 2 and check the pyramid and then go back and do the rest of GT.
I thought about that after to do like, Hyrule Castle Top mid because I knew that was there and I didn't really have a good path. So I was honestly going to do Aga for that. And then I got Red Cane. I was like, well, I'm just going to mirror and go right side because that's probably going to be the answer. It didn't end up being, but then I was like, I got that. I got front of TR now. I got like Vidi. So I wasn't too worried about it. It could have burned me, but it was like one of the things that didn't really ice burn me. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, it turned out to just be junk in Thieves' Hideout.
Yep. It's kind of a non-factor, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was more just, curious because Zelga did do Aga 2 and then came back and did right side GT basement later.
I don't think I had all my caves mapped out either because I was checking some pretty late as well. So
yeah, you found Useless Fairy at Sanctuary pretty late.
Yeah, so that's the other reason is I didn't know like where that was, so it could have been on that climb. So I think it was Thief and Useless Fairy were the only 2 I didn't know. And then I finally found Useless Fairy at Sank. I was like, all right, well, Ganon's Tower climb, I guess has 1 item. So again, it was like 50-50 at that point too. And I was just like, kind of rather just go for the quick 5 items on the right and then go from there and save a little bit of time. Turns out it was the right call, but just for the wrong reasons, I guess. I don't know. But yeah.
So how about quick cross next time, huh?
I already
Sorry.
said to my last 2 opponents quick cross, and both of them said yeah. And then we still play cross keys. So it's like whatever, man.
All right.
Get on it, league admins. Quick cross.
Well, I mean, now while Futon's still on vacation, you guys can already plan game 4.
Guess we could, yeah, because it's split 1-1.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Should.
Speaking of, so I didn't actually see game 3 on the schedule. Has that not been scheduled yet, or still working on it?
Well, Futon's on vacation, so I guess they're gonna work for something till next week. He's gone to like Christmas, so.
Okay.
Still have to be week 2, but Andy and I are pretty available right now. Futon will be pretty available for game 1, 4, and 5 if necessary, depending on how we want to play it, right? So.
Okay, I think I remember when you guys faced Era 216, it like your game 4 player depended on what happened in game 3, so it's kind of same similar strategy, I assume.
Probably. Yeah, I don't want to commit to an answer just yet.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I think when they faced Era
it was kinda
216,
different
they were
too.
in a 2-0 hole.
Well, it was kind of a little different too, because like there's a player swap as well. So initially it's gonna be like Duncan and I, and then it was like Bueno. I was like, no bueno. Pun intended, but like look, you know what? I know my limit, I play within it kind of thing. So like I'll just like have Andy rematch him, that's fine. But yeah, no, that and like if we're up or down kind of goes into the stratagem a little bit, but it's kind of chill too. Like I guess we could, but I think Andy and I would probably just prefer to wait it out until Futon gets his match in. We'll see what happens. Yeah. I figure like Zelga and his team would probably prefer the same, honestly.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I have some availability coming up, but it'd probably just be best to wait until after game 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys have 2 weeks, right, to do this, right? This weekend next, so should be plenty of time, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play Halo during it. It's fine. Already done enough that veterans practice, so I'm good there. And like the other modes are like resident sleepers, so yeah, just it'll be fun to see what happens with Futon's match next week, and then we'll go from there.
Do you happen to know what mode Futon and Shady are gonna play?
Well, they're the open boots, right? Because it's the.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Shady.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, that's right. Dr. Marty and Andy play Randomizer. That's right.
Yeah, and of course, the other conference finals are also on hold until next week as well.
What are your thoughts on veterans, Zelga? While I got you here.
I like it in concept. I feel like in theory it plays out really weird because small key logic goes out the window, and I can't remember if I've ever had a retrance that didn't have a Sphere 1 Samaria where you have to walk through Turtle Rock with like 5 keys. Like everything about it it's really awkward.
Yeah, I didn't really think of TR with the keys, but Pods is like the money dungeon for me, right? Because it's like, all right, just once you see Pod, all right, make sure you have enough keys before we fight Pod, basically, is the objective, right? Because like you said, small key logic goes out the window. I really like it. At first I was like, man, this is garb. Why'd the admins pick this? And then like I played it a couple times, like, all right, it's pretty good. I like the fact that you don't have to worry as much for the keys, rather than just have those, you know, those item caves that have the keys. Honestly, I think that helps out a lot with just maintaining the cross keys and everything like that, because you know, doing SMC3 co-op is like easy relative to doing retrance, I think. So
yeah, I actually really like retrance specifically in co-op, because just for that reason, like you don't have to call out, oh, the swamp small was in this stupid spot. You just get a key and you can kind of split the load. Like if one of you finds Pod really early, you have 2 keys, the other guy can go in with 2 more and finish off the dungeon.
Yep. Yeah, Andy may or may not have shamed me for like not knowing about the swamp small keys, by the way, because it was like, we got to find a swamp small. He's like, oh, we do we? It's like, all right, that's great. Yeah, I know you guys probably want to wrap up at this point. So again, thanks for the comms and the tracking and everything, guys. Zelga, good game. A lot of fun. Glad to play again. I know we don't play each other very often because, you know, you're better, so you'll kind of go deep in tournaments and I kind of fall apart in the early games. So you know, it's just good playing again, dude.
Yeah, a big GG's. Like I said on previous cross keys, I'm glad to have the company on these seeds, because playing this alone would be something, but when you have someone else to talk about the good and the bad, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, looking forward to more. One of these days, I'll get into SMZ3 and you can just start wiping the floor with me.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know. I'm slowing down at my age, so.
Well, thanks again to both of you and GG's, and do give both of these runners a follow. Their links are in chat. And once again, thank you to our trackers, Akuhaish and Daruk. There is a lot of stuff going on in Cross Keys. It is not easy to track. You never know what's going to show up, so we really appreciate your work.
Yeah, thank you so much, especially for a seed for this particular one. It was quite the job in order to be able to track everything accurately. I want to say thank you again, Solskay and Salga, for putting on. I mean, this was a very fun. You guys talking about this is a fun seed to play outside of like the league competition stress. I mean, this was actually a really fun race to watch. I mean, logic was actually very interesting, and you guys certainly put on a show for both of us, or for all of us here. So it was really awesome to see. This of course does tie up 1-1, and we will certainly be on the lookout for games, whatever, 3, 4, and maybe 5. But of course, I think people mentioned, it is kind of around the holiday time, so maybe something won't happen, for a little bit. But certainly keep your eyes on the schedule. Anything coming up, Jossie?
Yeah, the only other match this week, everything else is after the holiday, but on Friday at 3:10 p.m., we're kicking off the Open League Finals with a match between Ninjembro of Bottles on Empty and Kaysen of JKLOL. So that should be fun. But both of these two teams have already been invited to the Invitational League for Season 5, so we'll get to see some invitational level play there.
Yeah, okay. And then it looks like stuff are going to start up again maybe this weekend in terms of the Invitational League. Let's see. It looks like our Sunday 4:10 p.m. we have Dante versus Gamma. That should be a pretty exciting race to
watch. I think they played each other a few months ago in a fairly high-stakes series.
Yeah, so something about like the main tournament and like the finals. So that's going to be really actually pretty exciting rematch to watch. It looks like it's also another hard randomizer. So you know what? All of that execution is going to go. I don't almost like quite out the window, but it's really going to be testing a lot more reflexes in this case. And looks like, but yeah, I mean, like right now, league everyone is like super stacked. I mean, competition is going to be very very high, and all the races are just going to be amazingly great to watch. So thank you again so much, of course, to Solskay and Zelga, and of course, best of luck to both your teams moving forward. Yeah, and I want to also say thank you again to our trackers. The trackers are awesome. Akuhaish and Daruk, you guys did a phenomenal job here for tracking. Trossi, any final words for you? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Clear Mouse. I'm glad we got to fit in this comms before the season ended.
Yeah, I am too. It was definitely a great race to be able to commentate for.
Yeah, a match to remember, that's for sure. But I think that'll do it then. There's actually no further programming tonight on SpeedGaming. So just give the SpeedGaming family of channels a follow, SpeedGaming and SpeedGaming 2 through 6, so that you're up to date on when the next events are.
Yeah, until then, just have a good night, and I guess whatever you end up celebrating, have a happy holidays.